Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's Chicago Board of Education meeting. Today is January 23, 2019. By the way, I'm catching up with the time. I guess earlier I said 2014 for some reason. We're holding today's meeting in the boardroom at 42 West Madison Street. I am Frank Clark, and on behalf of my fellow board members, I want to thank you all for coming today. I would like to introduce our newest board member, Austin Gooseby, who will say a few things about himself. Austin?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'm a teacher down at the University of Chicago, where I've been for, it's now my 24th year. I had a 3-month stint with President Obama as an economist in Washington. I believe the CPS system is the backbone of the city's economy, and I'm honored and excited to take part in both this meeting today and as a member of the board.
Thank you very much, Austin, and welcome. You will find it engaging and stimulating and illuminating. The order of business today will be honor and excellence. We'll have our CEO report. We'll go into public participation, followed by executive session, and then we will return to start our voting process. As always, I remind everyone that will be participating that courteous behavior is greatly desired and frankly expected. Madam Secretary, please lead us in the pledge.
Please rise.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The regular meeting of Wednesday, January 23rd, 2019 is hereby called to order. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. President. Member Furlong?
Present.
Member Garza?
Present.
Vice President Guzman?
Present.
Member Ward?
Present.
Member Goolsby?
Present.
And President Clark?
Here.
We have 6 members present. There is a quorum, and I would also like to recognize Dr. Janice Jackson, our CEO, Joseph Moriarty, our General Counsel, LaTanya McDade, our Chief Education Officer, and Mary Bradley, the Executive Director of Innovation and Incubation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Today,
Excuse me. I'm sorry, Mr. President. I also want to recognize Aisha Ahmed, our honorary student board member, and our shadow student today is Nancy Sandoval, a senior from Juarez Community Academy.
I was going to say that.
Thank you.
Asher?
Thank you, President Clark. Today we are joined by Nancy Sandoval, a senior at Benito Juarez Community Academy. Nancy, would you like to say a few words?
Yes. I would like to thank President Clark and the members of the board for this opportunity. I have held various student council officer positions. I have participated in the Food Share and Navigators programs at my school. I'm also a student representative at the Competency-Based Learning Initiative, Equity Team, and Local School Council. I am a participant of the Northwestern Academy for Chicago Public Schools, College Arts Access Program, Chicago Scholars Foundation, Build On, and National Honor Society. I am honored to be a part of this board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Okay, let's proceed with honoring excellence. Chief McDade.
Thank you. Good morning. We begin each Board of Education meeting by recognizing the talents and accomplishments of our students and school communities. Last month, we shared that Mr. Brian Coleman, a counselor at Jones College Prep, was named School Counselor of the Year by the American School Counselor Association, and we were planning on honoring him today at today's board's meeting. Unfortunately, due to a family emergency, Mr. Coleman is unable to attend today's meeting. Our thoughts and prayers are with Mr. Coleman and his family, and we will work to reschedule with him so that he can be recognized at a later date. I would like to begin this month's meeting by acknowledging the many adults who work on behalf of students every day, but whose work may not be as visible as, say, a teacher or a principal. Now that we're entering the season of winter storms and frigid temperatures, I would like to acknowledge and thank the building engineers, the custodians, and other members of the district's facilities team for all that they do to ensure our buildings are warm, safe, dry, and ready for children each and every day. They maintain our heating systems, they shovel and salt the sidewalks, clear parking lots, and take on a myriad of other tasks that go unnoticed. I also want to thank our safe passage workers who brave the frigid temperatures and help students navigate our streets on their way to school every morning and every afternoon. Finally, I want our families to know that student safety during these winter months is among our top priorities, and CPS is committed to providing families with clear, timely information in the event of a weather emergency. For the latest news and updates, families can sign up for email alerts on our website at cps.edu, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ShyPub Schools, and we are Chicago Public Schools on Facebook. And those are all ways that parents and families can receive additional information. And please ensure that your school has the latest current contact information. So we urge all parents to update their contact information to make sure that they have the right information on file to be able to receive automated robocalls and emails in case of emergencies or inclement weather-related updates. Post-secondary success for many of our students means college, and the district has prioritized expanding access to rigorous college-level courses such as advanced placement. I'm pleased to report that for the 6th consecutive year, the College Board has named CPS to the District Advanced Placement Honor Roll. Chicago is the only school district in the country to have received the AP District of the Year award multiple times, and this national recognition is the direct result of hard work and progress by our students, our teachers, our families, and our school leaders. I'm excited by the fact that CPS leads the nation in advanced placement participation and attainment. But more than that, I'm proud of the way our district is preparing students for success in college and in career. Every AP credit a student earns in high school is one less credit they have to pay for in college. This is why we continue to expand advanced placement opportunities throughout our district, and that includes growing our AP Capstone program. I'm excited to announce that we will be bringing this rigorous program to 6 additional CPS high schools in the fall of 2019. It helps students develop their research, teamwork, and communication skills through college-level coursework and is another opportunity for CPS youth to earn college credit even before graduating from high school. Research shows us that students who enter college with this kind of head start to do better in their classes and are more likely to graduate in 4 years. So I'm thrilled that we are expanding the AP Capstone program next fall, and I have no doubt that our students will use this opportunity to set even higher standards of excellence in Chicago Public Schools. As a district, expanding access to high-quality academic program is a priority for us. And last year, we created a new process to empower schools to choose academic programs that best suit their students' needs. I would like to thank principals who submitted a letter of intent and an academic request for proposal. The district received more than 100 letters of intent, and over half were asked to submit full proposals for academic programming going into next year. I've been impressed by our school's interest in this process, the quality of the submissions, and thought and care that principals and their teams have put into the application process. Currently, our team is in the process of reviewing these submissions and conducting site visits to determine final recommendations for the spring. We will continue to provide updates to schools as we move along in this process. This concludes the Chief Education Officer's report, and I will now turn it over to Dr. Jackson for the CEO's report.
Thank you, Chief McDade, for those updates. A few things today. First, I would like to start by acknowledging this week we celebrated the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whose message of love, tolerance, and equality is as relevant today as it was 50 years ago. I would also like to thank all of the teachers, principals, and educators throughout the district who use this as a learning opportunity for students this week. And I want to encourage them to continue to do that the other 364 days throughout the year. Finally, I would like to acknowledge all of the city partners who came together to support our schools through days of service. I had the opportunity of working at Deneen School of Excellence on Martin Luther King Day. That was led by City Year. City Year brought out hundreds of volunteers who worked to paint the school, create benches, and beautify the space to support our students. I was not there when students were able to arrive, but I'm sure they were blown away by the remarkable support that they felt from people from outside of the community. I couldn't imagine a better way to honor Dr. Martin Luther King by participating in a day of service. We should all be reminded that Dr. King challenged us not to wait for change, but to make it happen in our lives daily. And in my role as CEO, I am not going to hope for equitable outcomes for all of our students, but we're going to work extremely hard and ensure that equity is not just a watchword in our new 5-year strategic plan for the district, but is something that is in action every day. While we are proud of the results that have happened in Chicago Public Schools for the past few years, which include remarkable graduation rates led by African American and Latino males, as well as our acknowledgement by Professor Reardon from Stanford University as a district that serves as an outlier for student growth, we as a school system will not be satisfied until we see that level of progress throughout the entire district. My team is in the process of creating a 5-year vision for Chicago Public Schools, and we want all stakeholders to be involved in that process: our educators, our partners, and especially our families. I've spent the first year as CEO visiting schools and hosting countless meetings throughout our communities. I've had the opportunity to engage thousands of students, parents, and families who talk about their dreams for their children, and that inspires me and my team every single day. I believe in the potential of all of our kids, and we want to set realistic yet ambitious goals for all of them because we believe in them. Goals that build on the steps that CPS has already taken will be critically important, but those goals must focus on eliminating system-wide inequity. These steps include hiring more social workers and strengthening our special education programs in the schools that need them most. We also are looking to revise our student code of conduct to address some of the racial and cultural disparities that currently exist. This also includes the creation of our Office of Student Protections in Title IX, which is charged with ensuring that our district is free of sexual misconduct, and the first ever Office of Equity, which is working to ensure that we are equitably distributing resources throughout the city. These are all some of the greatest challenges that we face as a school system, and as CEO, I will not shy away from addressing them head on. The philosophy at the center of our 5-year vision, this philosophy will be at the center of our 5-year vision, but I cannot create that vision without the support of our communities. Like teachers, we will be asking CPS families to complete a survey to share their questions and concerns and provide us with direction on where the district needs to go. Their feedback will be combined with the input that we've already received from students and educators and partners to help chart a path forward for Chicago Public Schools. I have to note that when we sent out the survey to our educators right before winter break, I had a 13-year veteran email us back to say that throughout her entire tenure, she had never been asked by the district her opinion on the direction of the school system. We want more educators as well as our families to feel that sense of connection. We also plan to share a summary of that feedback from our educators and families on the CPS website, so look for that in the near future. Shaping our district's next chapter is an opportunity of a lifetime, and I welcome our parents, families, and educators to voice their hopes and dreams and help us envision the future of Chicago Public Schools. Majority of today's CEO report will be comprised of 3 important updates from the Office of the Inspector General, the Office of Student Protections in Title IX, as well as the Office of Incubation and Innovation, reporting on our charter recommendations today. I would like to begin with the first of 3 presentations and ask Inspector General Nick Schuler to come forward and provide an update on student adult abuse in the system and his team's efforts to combat that. Inspector General Schuler.
Good morning, thank you.
Morning.
Morning, President Clark. Good morning, members of the board. Morning, Dr. Jackson. So since the summer, when we took over the responsibility for this, in general, we've hired a team, and we officially took over investigations of adult-on-student behavior starting October 1st. And so we have 12 people assigned to this unit, chief investigator, 2 assistant inspector generals, who are both attorneys, 1 admin, and we have 8 investigators. So we currently have mostly completed our hiring. We have 1 entry-level investigator spot still open. And unfortunately for us, the chief investigator has decided that his heart belongs in the courtroom, and he's decided to go back to the state's attorney's office, and he'll be leaving our office shortly. So we wish him well. We thought he did a great job, and we wish him well. And he was actually very instrumental in us getting up and running and where we are today. So we thank him for that. Just a quick overview of the sexual allegations investigation process. We receive complaints. They come a lot from the Verify system. They come directly to us through the email. They come directly to us through the hotline. They come to us through principal calls. And then sometimes they don't belong in our office, so those get referred out. And then sort of a fairly intensive process begins right away to make sure that DCF is called. We're getting information from principals. We're getting as much information we can. We're coordinating with the police department. We're coordinating with OSP, Deb Spraggins, Aaron Clark, people in OSP. We're coordinating with the law department and talent to see if people need to be pulled. A lot of cases are pretty straightforward. There's some gray areas, so there's a lot of figuring out what we have at the intake stage. The attorneys spend a lot of time kind of boiling down the information and disseminating pull-out recommendations or things like that. So, and then we investigate all allegations regarding CPS adults. We'll talk about that later. So it's not, it's things that are patently involving sexual allegations on their face, but then we get a lot of things that generally are creepy or they're concerning behavior, but perhaps not, patently sexual on their face. We're still investigating those. We'll talk more about that later. So then we gather evidence, we interview witnesses, we get electronic evidence, we get videotape, whatever might be available. Throughout this, we're coordinating with the police, with when appropriate, or DCFS. We're updating CPS. Sometimes things come in and the allegations become more serious as we dig into it. And so people need to be pulled, people need to be advised of what's happening as that's developing. So sometimes the status of the investigations change as the seriousness of them changes. We go through that. And then ultimately we report to the board, we report findings of fact and law and policy, and we make recommendations to keep students safe and deal with offenders. And so I suspect OSP will talk about it when they talk, but at the early stage we're in contact with them and we're making sure that that students are getting appropriate support. Although our office isn't the one in charge of delivering that support, we're making sure that we're in contact with OSP and the students are getting support throughout the process. This is a snapshot of, well, not a snapshot, this is what we have from October 1st when we took over investigations through October 9th of this year. We have 136 total cases. So you'll see the 3 months there. We only had a handful of days from January, so that's not represented here, but in the chart. But we're getting approximately 2.43 complaints per school day, 1.35 per calendar day. And so you can see we had 50 in October, 45 in November, and December 36. Those numbers, you can see the numbers are fairly consistent across the board. The actual numbers are a little less, I think, because of Thanksgiving and some report card days in November, and December was a short month for school days, which probably accounts for a slightly less total number of complaints that month. I think OSP, again, will talk about it, but, 136 cases, this is, I think, although we just took this over, it's my sense that this is an uptick from where we were before the Betrayed series and before we took over. I don't have hard numbers, but I think the law department was investigating approximately 100 cases a year, somewhere around there. So you can see we already have 136 cases in this short period of time. Conversation with Dr. Jackson and others, I believe that this is, the board has information that this is not surprising, that once a culture change like this is begun, the Department of Defense and, the Center of Disease Control expect these numbers to tick up because there's awareness about this, there's an outreach program, and so people are reporting more regularly. And it's not to say everything's reported, so we're going to be diligent about making sure we keep on top of making sure that everything that should be reported is. So these are the OIG sexual allegation categories that we've developed, and this is how we're tracking them. So we have, I do want to warn people, we're not going to get too particularly graphic here, but if anybody's sensitive, we are going to be talking about the sort of different things, and if anybody would like to take not be present for this portion, I'd understand. So we have Sex Act, which is penetration. That includes oral sex, sex abuse, physical conduct for gratification, groping, fondling, petting, sexual comment in person. So that's the unambiguously sexual comment to the student. Grooming, we're treating that as actions to break down inhibitions for the purpose of sexual conduct. Sexual electronic communications, sexting, sexual text messages, emails, or other communications. And then we have a category for touching, less than sex abuse on the intake. It's touching of a possibly sexual nature, or it's not obvious. So, we have touching on a shoulder without more. We're treating it that way. Of course, these cases are being taken seriously. They certainly could develop into more. We might develop more information that leads it to one of the more obviously sexual categories. And then we have concerning other. So that includes things like leering and creepy behavior and other potentially concerning behavior. And so, quickly, a few examples of that are, we've had complaints where people are feeling uncomfortable the way a teacher looks over his glasses, the way a teacher announces names at roll call. They feel that women's names are being, or girls' names are being said in a different fashion. Invading, standing too close, being in somebody's personal space. So we have all these concerning behaviors that we're investigating that, on their face, they don't include something that's patently, sexual, but it's somebody's reporting is concerning, and so we're investigating it, and they definitely, it could be, it could lead, it could be concerning, it could lead to something else. Something else could be going on, of course. And then student on staff inappropriate conduct, students initiating concerning behavior towards a staff member. We have a small handful of cases where staff have actually reported that somebody's students have expressed interest in them. So we have that as a category. And then we have a small category of cases that are outcries about old conduct. And so this is a recent outcry about allegations from several years ago. So except for that small category, these other incidents are happening, they're being called in now for the first time they're happening now. Cases by allegation category, we have 136 cases, like I said. So you can see that, so I think it kind of starts in the black at the top around 12 o'clock and then works around clockwise. But sexual act, we have 4 cases of that. Sexual abuse, we have 15 cases. The sexual comment in person, 10 cases. Grooming, 15. Sexual electronic communication, we have 1 case. We have 14 cases of touching that are less than sexual abuse. And then we have 66 cases of the concerning other behavior that I was talking about. So And that's half of our cases. 49% are these other concerning category. Like I said, we have 4 cases of that student on staff inappropriate conduct, and the outcries about old conduct, we have 7 cases. Cases by school grade level: high school, 65 cases, elementary school, 68 cases, and unknown school, 3 cases. And the reason it's unknown is, in some cases, we aren't able to identify an offender or a victim or both. So elementary school by allegation. We have 3 sex acts. Importantly, those sex acts did not happen on CPS property, although they involved CPS personnel and students. They weren't on school grounds, and I think in all the cases, they weren't students from their own school. They were students from the neighborhood, I think. I can confirm that with one of my team. Sexual abuse, 10 cases. Sexual comments, 3. Grooming, 5. No cases of sexting at the grade school level. Touching, less than sexual, 7. 34 cases that are concerning. Student on staff inappropriate conduct, 1. And 5 of the old conduct outcry cases are at the elementary school level. High school. So one sex act involving high school. Sexual abuse, 5 cases. Sexual comments in person, 7. Grooming, 10. Sexual electronic communications, 1 case. 7 cases of touching that are less than sexual abuse. 30 concerning cases. 3 cases of student on staff inappropriate conduct or allegations of that. And then outcry about old conduct, 1 case. So cases by school type: district versus charter. You can see we have charter 10 cases or 7%, the district 123 cases or 9%. And again, we have these unknown. We can't identify the school. We have 3 cases of that. Charter schools should be reporting to us. But I think the district, there's been a greater outreach to the district level, and so I don't know if we have all these cases coming from the district because of a better public outreach, better awareness, better education, and although we do have some information from charters and we've gotten calls from charters, it does seem to be a little lower, and we'll continue to look at that or see if there's ways to make sure we're getting all the calls we should be from charter schools. So the top 5 district job categories by allegations. Teacher, we have 55 allegations. 3 of those are currently being investigated by the police or with the police department. There are approximately 19,000 teacher positions, and that represents 0.29 of the teacher population are subject to complaints. Security guard, we have 17.
Nick, could I say, any number greater than 0 is too much, but 0.29, so we're talking 0.3%.
Yeah, I mean, it's 0.29%, right? Security guard, 17 allegations, 2 are currently with the police department. So approximately 1,700 positions, and so we have 1% of the security guards are subject to complaints. Vendor employees, we have 10 allegations. 2 are currently with the police, and SECAs, special education, classroom assistants. We have 8 allegations, 1's with the police. And so there's approximately 4,000 positions there, which represents 0.2% of the subjects of complaints. And then we have teacher substitutes. We have 7 allegations. 1's currently with the police. And so sex act and sex abuse cases, these are clearly, the ones that are on their face, the most concerning, the most, the most serious on their face. So we have 4 alleged sex act cases. They're all being investigated by the police. One involves a custodial worker, 1 involves a bus driver, 1 involves a SECA, and 1 involves a dean and a coach. Status is one has been indicted, 2 have been charged, one's under investigation, and as I said before, 3 of these were not on CPS grounds. 15 cases of alleged sexual abuse, 7 are being investigated by the police, 2 are charged with aggravated criminal sexual abuse. The population is 7 teachers and 1 substitute, 2 bus personnel, 3 vendor personnel, 1 SICA, and 1 identified offender. So the allegations there include groping, fondling, exposing of private parts, grazing of private areas, and other inappropriate sexual touching. So these are the actions.
No.
These are the actions pertaining to the OIG investigations. We have 33 adults who were pulled from school pending the investigation. 4 substitute teachers have been blocked from teaching at CPS. 1 employee resigned or retired in the wake of the allegations, and 6 employees were terminated from their positions.
Mr. Schuler, could I ask a question?
Certainly.
If in the course of an investigation of these serious allegations, there comes evidence of other previous activities, do those go into this? Would those go into your statistics? Would they count as separate cases? What would happen?
I think they counted as this. I think they would be counted as the same case. Then the nature of that case would expand. There would be more victims.
Okay.
I think that's how we're counting it now. Of the 33 adults pulled pending investigation, there are 12 teachers, 8 security guards, 5 vendor employees, 4 bus drivers or aides, 1 dean/coach, a lunchroom monitor, a custodial worker, and a SICA. And the Ambers can help me. These include both charter schools and the numbers, both charter schools and CPS employees are included in this 33 adults. OIG investigations by case status. So the vast majority of the investigations are active, 55%. Investigations substantially complete are 35%. 8 are closed, and 2% are in court watch status. So what that means is, active is easiest. They're ongoing. They're open. They're being worked. Substantially complete means the investigation phase is done. The witnesses have been interviewed. We believe we've gathered all the evidence, and that's waiting to be formally out-reported by our office to OSP. Court watches, there's some cases that are being monitored because of just for court watch status. Somebody's been arrested, and we're maintaining a court watch on the file. And closed 8%, that means we're done. We've made recommendations, we made findings, and we reported that out in a written fashion to OSP and CPS. Key improvements since we've taken over. Importantly, we've minimized redundant victim interviews through collaboration with the Chicago Children's Advocacy Center, the CAC. That was kind of a key breakthrough, and we were able to work it out with them in the early months of taking over these investigations. So now our office is able to view forensic interviews after the fact, rather than subject victims to multiple interviews. And so this is probably most on the board are aware, and people in general are aware, this was a point of contention that there was a process problem before, that children were being exposed to too many interviews. They're being, having to relive the trauma by going through this again. So we're trying to eliminate that as much as possible. And we worked with the CAC, and that same procedure, by the way, will be available to OSP in their investigations on student allegations. So we're ensuring that the police are notified in all appropriate cases. We've trained staff in Title IX and forensic interview techniques, and additional and regular training will be forthcoming. So we've hired 10 staff members, including with diverse backgrounds. That's not counting the team chief in this. Including a retired sex crime detective who has extensive experience working at the CAC. 2 former police officers, although that's not exclusively what they did. They also had very dynamic other careers, as well as being policemen in different places. Former Title IX coordinator, who's actually one of the former police officers, former prosecutor, who's one of our attorneys, several staff with prior training in sex abuse and related matters, and other trained investigators, and some people from the other OIG shops, places like that. The benefits of OIG investigation practices. So we have trained OIG staff that handle intakes. So we're trying to get on this, handle all the intakes in a uniform fashion, make sure we get as much information as early, make sure things are that need immediate attention get all the attention it needs right away. This is being done by high-level staff, which swiftly reviews every complaints. We ensure OSP and DCFS are notified. The police are called when appropriate. And like I've alluded to already, we collaborate with law, talent, OSP to determine if subjects should be pulled out on pending investigations. And like I said, that can be a fairly time-intensive endeavor at the beginning of the process. But it's we need to make sure that we're getting these right. And so there's a lot of discussion about whether somebody should be pulled, and we're trying to boil down and sift through what we have early on. And then, of course, if things change, we do advise about that too. And people might need to be pulled once we learn something later, additional victims, or we were able to prove the allegations, things like that. So trained OIG investigators are doing the cases. They're all being handled in-house. There are no outside contractors handling the case. And, they were conducting thorough investigations, and they're time and resource-intensive investigations. But they're thorough. The OIG reports to CPS on all cases and provides transparency and public information. So that's a deviation. And most of the board members are aware of this. I think I've discussed it with you all. But we're reporting on all cases sustained and not sustained. In this, you're getting a written report with analysis regarding everything, all the cases that we have. So, this is not only for Title IX reporting purposes, so OSP can have accurate information. It's also to help identify patterns, and if there might be cases where it's not sustained because the evidence just isn't there, but we'll be able to track it. OSP will be able to track it. We'll be able to have a good record of the people who are the frequent flyers in this system, and the second complaint, the third complaint. We'll be able to really start to drill down on if people are getting multiple complaints and, if they weren't sustained for one reason or another. I suspect it won't be too many past one, but, the second time, if there's a not sustained case, the second time that person will be getting, I imagine, quite focused attention. Benefits of OIG investigations practices, some more. OIG sexual allegations units impartial. We're not conflicted. Again, that's removing it from the law department. So we have an independent outside body doing these investigations. Frankly, I think that's one of the main things we can offer here. OIG is the sole CPS body charged with investigating sexual allegations involving adult on student misconduct. And so again, we're eliminating redundant interviewing of victims and witnesses, and even further through our agreement that we've worked out with the CAC. Informal investigations by untrained school staff are eliminated under this process. Evidence collection is standardized based on our OIG practices, and OIG maintains a database of complaints that can be monitored for patterns involving staff positions, individual suspects, schools, things like that. So that's the main presentation on the work we've done. Proactively, I'll be happy to take some questions, but then I'll address on the next couple slides the backwards review that the board has also asked us to undertake. So, for people who may not be familiar, the board, our office asked to take over these investigations in the summer, and then we got a part two that we didn't directly ask for, but we're more than happy to undertake, which is the backwards review of all the cases that were handled back to 2000. So that's an incredibly big lift. We have 18 cases that are being handled by we've hired an outside contractor, the Free Group, to conduct a thorough review of 18 cases. Some of these cases were identified by the board, to me, and one of the cases I think the law department identified to us, and one of them is a case that the Office of the Inspector General investigated years ago before my tenure there. So these cases are with Free Group now, and they're working on those, and we're working with them to get the reports and get that information to you. But it's well underway, but it's still probably more toward the beginning than the end of that process. The main goals there are to identify gaps and omissions in the investigative process, assess the depth and thoroughness of investigations, evaluate Title IX compliance and whether appropriate actions were taken, and then, importantly, determine whether additional corrective actions or further support services are needed, and, then it would include if there's any CPS personnel who would need to be removed. That would be, that's would be a top priority, identifying that. Then we have the larger body of cases, basically the rest of the historical review, which is the main body of it. We got bids for this work, and so we've selected Denton's. We're in the process of contracting with them. I believe Law Department's contracting process now, so it's not finalized, but we expect that to go through. And so Denton's have been asked to assess approximately 1,000 cases between 2003 and 2018. There's an unknown number of complaints from 2000 to 2003 that we're still working with law to identify. So, but so there'll be probably some more cases beyond 1,000, but we're not exactly sure. And so they're going to, again, look at all these cases. The immediate goal is to get eyes on all of these cases and triage them again for, are there any obvious obvious actions that need to be taken? Are offenders still here? Are there victims who need support? Is it possible some cases are eligible for prosecution? And, are there, and then beyond that, are there patterns of missteps? Are there patterns involving certain schools, possibly certain principals, certain subjects, things like that? So that's the sort of data we'll be getting from that review, and that that'll lead to a bigger assessment of what beyond that might need to be done, if anything. And so there'll be a kind of a master report coming from that work. So I'm happy to take questions.
Does that conclude your report?
It does.
Okay, board members?
I have a couple, but I'll stop and then jump back in after my colleagues here have spoke. But help us with it's a couple questions around staffing. So just include in the answer, are any restrictions being placed on hiring? Are you still in the process of hiring? And I get to that because the low closure rate, 8% are closed, but another 35 look really close. And I know you're coming up a learning curve in 3.5-ish months to try and figure out what's the speed to closure. So if you can kind of wrap that concept in there,
Yeah,
I'll help if you miss it.
I'll be happy to address that. We've basically been operational for 4 months or so, and it's unlikely that we would have closed many cases in the first 2 months, just because of the intake. We weren't fully staffed at the beginning. We started with, we didn't have 12 people in place and fully trained on day one. So there's been a big ramp-up period through October and November. And we were kind of fully coming to full strength in December. So there's been a learning process, I think, about writing these reports. So I expect the backlog, not really a backlog, but the cases waiting to be closed, that number should start to uptick just as we get a better handle on, we'll get efficiencies from learning how to do this better. And it's the writing process primarily, getting that done and written, and making sure that everybody who's writing is writing to the same OIG standards that we've had in the same format. That having been said, it's possible, I think it's possible that we might need some more resources. I've talked to my team. I think the investigative side I don't think the investigators themselves are overwhelmed, although that could be, I guess, if we keep getting cases at this rate. But, I think we might need some help it's possible we might need some help to stay on top of this. But I'll know more, as this develops. As far as are we still hiring, we've got one open investigator position, and we're going to, I've talked to Matt Lyons, we're going to get the position for the team chief posted again, and I've had some preliminary discussions about, whether we might need a couple more staff to make sure that we can we can close cases, at the rate that they're coming in.
Okay, just to clarify, then I'll let my colleagues talk. Have we placed restrictions on you hiring people?
No,
Okay.
no, you've not given, no, you've given us everything we've asked for, and we might have to come back and ask for more depending on how this develops.
That's fair. I mean, you got to start somewhere and then figure out where, okay. That's a fair answer then. Thanks. I'll stop.
Other board members?
I do have one question. Dr. Jackson has pledged publicly, I believe, that any staff member accused of sexual abuse of a student would be pulled pending an investigation. In your experience so far, have we been able to carry that?
Yes,
out?
yes. So anytime there's a sexual act, sexual grooming, and anything that's sexual, people are being pulled. And then the discussions where we're spending a lot of time tend to focus on that other concerning behavior category. And in some cases, it's decided that I think we're erring on the side of caution, and people are being pulled. But, if there's a case where it's not immediately clear, we're definitely engaging law, talent, and OSP to make sure that people are aware of this, and this is what we have.
Nick, when you do your Inspector General investigations, you often come up with policy recommendations, practice recommendations. I know we've already made a lot of changes over the last several months, but I would just ask you to continue to be vigilant about and working with OSP and other folks about things institutionally that we should be thinking about if you start to see trends coming up. I think that was part of the miss earlier, and we want to make sure that we're hearing from folks that are doing these investigations and not losing the forest for the trees, so that we can continue to institute and think about process improvements, think about ways that we can continue to improve our practices.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're having regular meetings, weekly meetings, or more often with OSP and law. So a lot of that is sort of happening as we both develop our separate processes, but we want them to be largely similar at the end. Make sure we're doing the same things largely. So that a lot of that's happening. Of course, we will make formal written recommendations. We've never been shy about doing that. I expect a lot will come from once we have more information from these outside firms who are looking at this backwards review. I think we'll have more historical information that might inform this. But then, yes, of course, in any given case, or when we identify patterns or concerning things, we'll definitely report that.
Anyone else? Yes.
I have another one then. You used this phrase I wrote down while you're speaking. You tried to, and you elaborated a little bit. It was charter schools should be reporting to us. You said something at the beginning, something at the end. So that's the phrase. But my question then is, do you think they're not reporting, or do you think some are and some aren't, or what does that mean?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. No, we're getting calls from charters. We've gotten we do have cases on charters. It's just I don't have hard numbers. My gut feeling is that they probably are seems underrepresented just on a per student basis. So I guess that I was trying to articulate that we're going to be drilling down on that and make sure we have a handle on that, and then make sure that the same awareness campaign regarding this that's gone to CPS has reached the charter schools, and I'd like to drill down and make sure that they confirm that what the process is. So
Who led the original awareness campaign in the district? I say that I don't remember who led it. You did, or we did, or the board and CPS?
Well, I think primarily it was the forming OSP team and law, and then and then we had a hand in it. But I think the primary awareness campaign was led by the CPS side.
That's what I thought. And that was the summer programs and
Training,
Right.
principal training, and the brochures to get the hotline out and information like that. There's kind of a list of what to do that was disseminated. If you have adult on student or student on student, there's kind of a flow chart for that, to who to call. And then the other thing is, probably the biggest thing is that charter schools aren't on the Verify system. So, everybody in CPS, either they're calling us first or they're putting in Verify, but or we're putting it in Verify, but these cases are getting put in Verify, and the charter schools aren't using that. So that might be a big piece of that.
Nick, I think you said this. I'll just repeat it. You have the full support of the board as well as the CPS organization under Dr. Jackson. If you were getting anything less than full support, you would say it publicly, and you would certainly have said it to me. And at least we're off to a good start. I share Mark's concerns about resources. I think that you've come up to speed remarkably fast. I think you expected a deluge of activity, and you've got that. And I think you responded to it as well as can be expected. Your report was excellent in detail and in information. And I think that we are well positioned, even if we have to ultimately add resources to address this issue more fully than we have in the past. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Inspector General Schuler. Our second update.
Can I just, Dr. Jackson, I'm sorry. One of the things that I want to make clear because of, I think, Board Member Mark's question, and Joe probably should respond to this. Charter schools are held to the same standard as every other CPS school. And Joe, without probably a lot of detail at this point, could you just talk about some of the changes that we've put into the charter contracts?
Yeah, so a couple of things. So as part of the rollout of the new OSP office and the OIG's work in investigating these types of claims, we did include charter schools, and charter schools have all of the materials and posters that are posted in all of their schools that give students and teachers and in those schools information on how to contact the various offices. And as far as I know, they are doing that. In addition, we are, as part of all of our charter contract renewals, asking charter schools to notify CPS when they have issues involving sexual abuse or issues particularly involving key personnel, so that the district can exercise appropriate oversight of those types of claims and ensure that they're being addressed appropriately.
Yeah, you said asking, I think is a full requirement. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Thank you, President Clark. At this time, I'll ask Doug Henning, the First Deputy General Counsel for Chicago Public Schools and Acting Director of OSP, to provide us with an overview.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Good morning, President Clark and board members. Thank you for this opportunity to update the board on the work the Office of Student Protections and Title IX has done to date. This presentation will start with a brief recap of the conception and development of the OSP. I'll then give you an overview of the scope of the OSP's work and mission, then a brief update on its staffing. I'll also provide a data summary describing the number and types of reports the OSP has handled thus far. And then finally, I will draw your attention to some key points on how OSP is supporting the district's efforts to build a safer and more supportive district culture. In late May, CPS retained the services of former Assistant U.S. Attorney and Illinois State Inspector General Maggie Hickey to do a top-to-bottom review of the district's practices, policies, and procedures. Shortly after beginning her work, Maggie came to us and let us know of her recommendation to create an office to coordinate the district's responses to incidents of sexual misconduct. Dr. Jackson responded immediately and created the Office of Student Protections. Between the end of June and September 4th, the first day of school, we staffed the office, created processes and procedures for handling complaints and investigations, developed a case management and tracking software system, and launched the office on the first day of school. On October 1st, 2018, the OIG assumed responsibility for the investigation of reports of adult misconduct involving CPS-affiliated adults. Throughout this time, our offices have worked very closely together. As Nick mentioned, we meet on a weekly basis and talk even more frequently. And we've done, I think, a really great job of supporting one another's efforts to keep children safe and to support our children. The OSP has three primary functions, and it's organized into three units to accomplish those functions. It's coordination, investigations, training, and compliance. I'll briefly walk through each of those units to describe the work of the department. The Title IX Coordination Unit is involved in every report of sexual misconduct involving a CPS student. The unit is led by Aaron Clark. All the directors are sitting here today, so with your permission, I'll point them out as we go through them. Aaron's career has been focused on preventing sexual and dating violence, and I'm happy to report that all 7 of her coordinator positions are currently filled. The coordinators work closely with the OIG and school administrators, parents, and students to ensure that every student who's affected by sexual misconduct receives support and access to services. Further, coordinators help determine who should conduct the investigation, whether it's appropriate for the Inspector General's office, for one of the investigators within the OSP, or to be investigated by a school administrator. They're also responsible for documenting and tracking all the matters that come into the OSP. The second unit is the investigations unit. That unit's led by Deb Spraggins. Deb spent nearly her entire career with the Chicago Police Department investigating child sexual abuse and exploitation. She worked at the Chicago Children's Advocacy Center since its inception and has extensive training on trauma-informed and victim-sensitive interviewing. Deb and her team investigate the most serious and complex reports of sexual misconduct involving only students. 5 of her 6 investigator positions are currently staffed, and the last person to join the team has just begun the onboarding process. More about the types of investigations they conduct in a moment. Finally, I'd like to turn to the compliance and training unit. Amy Rodriguez is with us here today. Amy is an attorney whose career has been focused on advocating for children with disabilities and victims of sexual abuse. Title IX compliance is complex and extremely data intensive. Amy works closely with our coordination and investigations team and with the Inspector General's office to ensure that we are collecting all of the necessary data and reporting it appropriately to management and to the Office of Civil Rights. In addition to her data compliance work, she's also been conducting a number of trainings to educate the district on how to prevent and respond to allegations of sexual misconduct. At present, this unit has 1 trainer in place, and we are in the process of onboarding a second trainer and a data analyst. Now, at this point, I'm going to transition to a presentation on data that we've collected thus far. However, there's a couple points that I'd ask you to keep in mind as we get into the numbers. First, the OSP will take a report of misconduct and provide supports to the service regardless of when the incident occurred. So not all of the incidents that I'm going to report on today occurred during this school year. Whenever the outcry occurs, the OSP will be there to support and help the students. Second, we support students regardless of who harmed them. Many of the reports come from students who were abused by family members or people in the community, people totally unaffiliated with CPS, not staff, not vendors, not volunteers. And finally, I'm going to highlight a point that Nick also mentioned, which is that we have seen an increase in reports this year compared to years past. This was expected. Over the summer, Dr. Jackson arranged calls with the Centers for Disease Control and the Department of Defense. The DoD representatives shared their experiences trying to change the culture of sexual violence in the military. And one of the points that they made very clear to us is that as you increase awareness in education, you're going to see an increase in reports. This has been our experience, and we are glad that more students and staff are coming forward that have been victims or suspect that misconduct is occurring.
Doug, before you go on, this is just to educate the general public, because this is a problem that we certainly have in CPS, and we have to address it to the best of our capability, better than we have in the past, that's for certain. But if you look at the universe of these type of inappropriate activities, can you generally say where we see, where is the bulk of this? Is the bulk in the school system? Is the bulk someplace else?
Almost certainly the bulk is elsewhere. When we're talking about adult offenders, half of the reports we're getting involve adults that are unaffiliated with the school system. I am sure that more abuse and more misconduct is occurring outside of the school system than with the school system. However, I can only report on what's been reported to us, and like I said, half have been from non-affiliated adults.
I know I'd read across some national numbers. I don't want to cite them because I'm not an authority. Do you have any numbers that you can cite that are commonly reported from outside sources?
If you'll allow me to look at Aaron, I don't know if you have anything. I'm putting you on the spot right now. I don't have anything sort of at hand, and we may be able to.
I'm happy to look for it. I would say that many students would be someone who they trust, right? So if they are in the school system, they may be exposed to someone they trust there. So we certainly want to be putting the energy, as we have been, in those environments. But in my history of working with children who've experienced sexual abuse, and I believe death as well, unfortunately, it is often a family member or someone from their home environment. But I'm happy to look up more specifically.
Yeah, this is just for the general public because we have the young people during a certain part of the day, but we don't have them around the clock. And I think it's important, to look at the effort we're making now and frankly should have been making all along. But if there's more that needs to be done outside of the educational sphere, I want people to be aware of that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
President Clark, and we plan to come back at the end of the school year to provide a follow-up report. And I think at that point, we could give you some more sort of national numbers, but I'll put these to help put what we're doing here in perspective.
Okay, thank you.
So between September 4th and December 31st, the OSP took in 930 reports of suspected sexual misconduct. Over 80% of those reports involve student-to-student misconduct. That's the orange number there. 18% involved an adult actor, and half of those were unaffiliated with CPS. You will notice that the number of adult matters listed here does not match up exactly with the numbers reported by the OIG. This is due in part to the fact that that the OIG launched a month after the OSP, and because the OIG is responsible for investigating CPS-affiliated adults, whereas OSP numbers include both CPS-affiliated and non-affiliated perpetrators.
Doug, that's just another way of saying everything that Nick just reported is in your 932, right?
Right. So that's his work is a subset of the OSP work. Draw your attention to this slide here. This shows a breakdown of the 932 reports that have come into the OSP. They're broken down. The orange, again, is CPS students. The blue is CPS-affiliated adults, and then the gray is non-affiliated adults. The majority, about 2/3 of the incidents that we've had reported to us involve inappropriate touching or harassment, followed by electronic communications, which tend to be inappropriate images being shared among students. Of our most serious cases, that's obviously the sexual violence. You'll see the breakdown there is it's 87, 11, 65, 8, and 41. Any questions about these categories or this breakdown? Okay. This slide is included to give a further breakdown of the adult misconduct cases that we've had reported. As you can see, 50% are vendors or CPS staff, 50% are non-CPS affiliated, 31% being community-based adults, which would be a non-family member, someone out in the community that has contact with our students, and then 32% involves someone in the home. The OSP Investigations Unit has investigated 177 matters. Of those, I'm happy to say that 90% are closed or pending review. Closed means that the investigation is complete and the outcome has been communicated to the school and a final report has been prepared. Closed and substantiated, of those cases that are closed, 62% have been substantiated, 28% have been unsubstantiated. The remainder are pending review, and so we don't have a final outcome to report on those as of yet. One of the things that we're working very hard to do, and Deb Sprague's group is working hard to do, is to communicate outcomes to principals as soon as possible. Student discipline is often waiting for the outcomes of these investigations, and we've working with and talking to our principals that that's something that we have to communicate quickly so that they can take immediate and decisive actions based on those reports. So we're working hard to do that. Every case that's opened by the OSP, each of these 932 cases, has extensive data and documentation that goes along with it. Something like 65 different data points for every single case. This is something that we've worked really hard with the Office of Civil Rights to help develop in order to ensure compliance with Title IX. It puts a tremendous amount of work on the shoulders of the coordinators. They're the ones who are primarily responsible for ensuring that all of this data is collected and reported accurately. I'm happy to say that as of today, or as of about a week ago, 60% of all of those 932 cases have closed or are pending review. Closed means everything is completed, and we have closed the case in our software system. The pending review means, as far as a student or parent is concerned, from their perspective, everything has been done that they would expect to be done. An investigation's been completed, they've received all the documentation they're required to receive, services have been offered, referrals have been made, and from their perspective, there's nothing more that they're looking at CPS to provide. And then you'll see we have about 40% that are still in progress. I'd like to conclude today by going through a couple of the trainings that we're doing to help build and support the changing culture that's occurring here at CPS. One of the key recommendations that Maggie Hickey made was that we train a Title IX representative in every single school. Amy Rodriguez and her group have been undertaking this task and have been doing a phenomenal job training a Title IX school rep from all of the district-run schools. We will train about 525 representatives within the next month or so. Most of those are done already at this point. And these are people who are going to be there and who will be trained on how to respond to, spot incidents of sexual misconduct. They'll also be the primary liaison for our office and its investigators, and Nick's office and his investigators when they go out to a school responding to a report of misconduct. I won't go through each of these bullet points, but I'm happy to answer questions about them or any other questions that the board may have.
Does this conclude your report?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay, board members? Mark?
It's kind of the same questions a little bit that I asked Nick. So do you have any restrictions on hiring? I know you have some open positions you're trying to fill, and you're actively filling them as you go.
Yep.
And then the last, so when you wrap your answer, and the last question is, use the phrase, Title IX coordinator in every district school. So add the comment about what does that mean for charters?
No, thank you for those questions. Firstly, I want to say that Dr. Jackson and the leadership here has been extremely supportive. We've gotten everything that we've needed resource-wise, and I'm very grateful for that help and support. And similarly, I'd call out Matt Lyons and his group. We had to push through a lot of hires in a very short period of time, at a time of year when they were very busy, sort of getting ready to get teachers back in schools. And I'm grateful to Matt and Christina Jordan and the rest of their team for the help they provided. We do plan on training a representative for each of the charter schools. We simply have to wait till second semester for that. It was really just a capacity issue and working through some of the differences in how their systems work in ours. So we're working on that right now, and our goal and our to have all of those people trained by the end of the school year.
Yes, I think just like we'll have questions when we do monthly briefings with Nick, we'll have them with you. So mine will be on progress on charter and your comfort that the staffing and the focus is absolutely as intense as it is in the district schools. And we'll answer that when we get to it and when you're ready to talk about the level of intensity you've observed.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Any other questions, board members? Same comment from me. Again, a very thorough, very comprehensive report. And I'm glad to hear that you confirmed that you're getting all the resources that you require to do this very important work.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doug. Before we transition to our third presentation, I first want to thank everybody for your patience. I know those were two long presentations, but I think we would all agree that the information was insightful and necessary and also makes good on a promise that we made when we first launched our efforts to protect Chicago's children after the Tribune series. When we created the Office of Student Protections in Title IX and retrained staff on identifying grooming behaviors and additional signs of abuse, we anticipated that there would be an increase in reports of abuse because we knew that with increased education and more awareness, CPS would become a much more supportive district and much more vigilant around these accusations. And because of that, victims feel more comfortable coming forward because there's more confidence that something will actually be done. I would like to also acknowledge and thank the survivors who were brave enough to come forward, and I want them to know that they have an ally in me and my administration in this district to address these issues, and we encourage them to continue to come forward and report these allegations, and we will continue to be as vigilant as possible in addressing them. As I've stated before, nothing is more important than creating a safe environment, and protecting our children is not only an important priority for me, it is the most important priority for us who are trusted adults working with children every day. At this time, I would like to conclude with our last presentation. Mary Bradley, the Executive Director for the Office of Incubation and Innovation, will walk us through a brief report on our charter renewal recommendations. Mary?
Thank you, Dr. Jackson, and good morning, board members. Today I'll be reviewing the charter and contract school recommendations. The board will be asked to vote this month on the charter and contract school renewal recommendations for existing schools. The district runs a very thorough process to evaluate school performance at the end of the agreement as well as during the term of the contract. A public hearing was held for all charter renewal proposals to take comment from teachers, staff, and parents, and as well as community members and students. Any charter non-renewals by the Board of Education do have an appeal right with the Illinois Charter School Commission. Today, we'll be asked to vote on several recommendations. It could be anything more from 5-year term to more than 5 years or less than if expectations are not met. As an authorizer that follows national best practice, and it's a district that oversees and supports approximately 130 charter and contract schools that serve approximately 60,000 students across the city, the district ensures that charter and contract schools are providing a great education and are in compliance with the charter school agreements that the district holds with the charter school and with the school code. During the term of the charter and contract school, we continuously review to ensure that charter schools and contract schools are meeting the academic, financial, and operational expectations of the school agreement that includes the accountability plan and the board's charter school quality policy. If a school does not meet those expectations, the board may decide not to enter into a new agreement with that school or may choose to enter into agreement with conditions or a shorter term. Conditions in a school agreement are a result of noted issues that CPS believes can be resolved and will monitor during the length of the charter agreement. Charter and contract schools provide options and a variety of models for families across the city. Just as we do with district-managed schools, we celebrate and support high-performing charter and contract schools while ensuring that schools that are underperforming and do not meet expectations are held accountable. There are 7 charter operators with 23 campuses, 2 contract schools, and 2 option contract schools that have agreement terms ending June 30th, 2019. I will go over the recommendations that are coming forth to the board today. First, we have our only replicating charter school that is under review for renewal, and that is Noble Network of Charter Schools that has 17 campuses across the city. We are recommending at this time a 5-year renewal of Noble Charter School agreement with conditions. The remainder of the recommendations are related to single-site charter schools or contract schools. The first on the list is Chicago Math and Science Academy, recommending 7-year renewal with conditions. Foundations College Prep, recommendation of 4 years with conditions. Great Lakes Academy, 5 years with conditions. Horizon Science Academy, Southwest Chicago, 4 years with conditions. Kwame Nkrumah was non-renewed at last month's board meeting. Namaste Charter School, recommending 5 years with conditions. And our 2 contract schools that serve a traditional population, Chicago High School for the Arts, 5 years with conditions, and Hope Learning Academy, 4 years with conditions. In addition, we have 2 options contract schools that serve a more alternative population in the district. Southwest and South Shore, both recommended for 3 years with conditions. As stated, if a school does have conditions in the agreement, CPS will monitor throughout the term and ensure that the school is brought into compliance with any non-compliance issues. Thank you for your time, and I'll take any questions.
Board members, questions? Questions? Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary. That concludes the CEO's report.
Okay. I just have one brief announcement, the same one I make at every meeting, and I encourage people to use our website, cpsboe.org. It's a good way to have your questions and issues addressed in between board meetings and to get FaceTime with board members as you see fit. Madam Secretary, please share the details for the next board meeting.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next board meeting will be held on Wednesday, February 27, 2019, at the CPS Loop Office. Advanced registration will open at 10:30 a.m. Monday, February 25, 2019, and will close on Tuesday, February 26, 2019, at 5 p.m. or until all slots are filled, whichever is first. If anyone has any questions about this process, please contact the board office for our assistance. Thank you.
Okay, let's now proceed with our public participation. Madam Secretary, please share the rules for public participation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Speakers, please listen while I provide directions for public participation. I will call your name and number when it is your turn to speak. When you hear your name, please immediately proceed to the staging area to the left of the podium and check in with our board office staff member, Eric. He will be there to assist you. He will line you up in the right order. When it is your turn to speak, proceed to the podium and state your name. After you state your name, I will then start the 2-minute clock, which is visible to all in the audience. I would also like to note that there is a timer on top of the podium for the speakers to see. When there are 30 seconds remaining, the color will turn yellow, and when the 2 minutes are up, the light will turn to red. Please immediately take your seat when your time is up to allow for the next speaker to begin. Also, for anyone who plans to stand in support of a speaker, please be aware that the only walkway in the boardroom is behind the podium. Therefore, if you would kindly make a single file line and stand as near as the railing as possible, this will still allow people to pass through the area safely. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. And if I may start with a couple of elected officials that we have in the audience with us today before I begin with the speakers list. Our first speaker, Mr. President, will be the president of the CTU, Jesse Sharkey, followed by the CTU Acts Division Chair, Chris Bayrand.
Good morning, Mr. Clark and members of the board, CEO Jackson. I'm Jesse Sharkey. I'm the president of the CTU. I do have a number or a couple of points to make. But before I do that, just in reference to the reports that we just heard from Mr. Schuler and also from your offices, from your OPS. Adult misconduct surely is not acceptable, and it's I think it's important to have heard about what's happening in that regard. And holy crap, we have a lot of work to do on student behavior towards other students. I mean, it's an order of magnitude more than what we're reporting. Student reports of harassment from other students or worse is an order of magnitude more. And I just wanted to point out that as an educator sitting in that seat, that was just one of the things that I noticed from those charts at the very end. It's something we have to talk more about. A couple of quick points. Number one, bargaining has begun between CPS and the CTU over the collective bargaining agreement that governs the terms and conditions for over 24,000 school employees, mainly teachers, but also clinicians and PSRPs. We met the CPS team last Thursday, and we're pleased that through your counsel and also Chief Ed Officer Latanya McDade, you professed that CPS was going to use the improved economic position of the district to try to fight for improved conditions for our students in our schools. We have a long list of things that we're concerned about. I won't belabor it. We believe that pay and benefits have fallen behind both the historical standards of the district and comparisons. We think there's severe staffing shortages, whether it's nurses, counselors, librarians, bilingual educators that need to be addressed. We desperately want to improve class size, and we also have some social demands which we think affect both educators, teachers, for example, affordable housing in the district, and also the communities that surround our schools. Professing that we want to get it right is important, but what's really important where the rubber hits the road is how those proposals show up in a labor agreement. We intend to be diligent about keeping this process moving, and we want to land an agreement by the time school starts next fall. So I'm looking forward to talking with you guys more about that. Second point I just want to make briefly, which is that our general counsel, Joe Moriarty, and also President Clark talked about holding charter schools accountable to the same standards in relationship to sexual harassment. I'm glad to hear that. I want to know, is that true of the ways that charter employers treat their teachers, that there's a similar standard? You might have heard that at the Chicago International Charter Schools, there is a February 5th strike deadline. It will be the second strike deadline that we've had in the last couple of months in the charter. CICS currently, CPS subcontracts to CICS, which in turn subcontracts to at least 3 separate operators to run their various schools. One of those operators, Civitas, in turn subcontracts to a third operator. And at each level of that corporate nesting doll structure, those operators keep reserve funds. So we think there's $36.5 million worth of reserve funds, which are being kept by various subcontracted corporate structures. We're trying to negotiate a labor agreement that puts resources into the classrooms. And we're not sure if these things increase corporate accountability or are designed precisely to avoid it. In fact, we think that's the case. And so we want to know who on this board takes responsibility for the actions of charter operators in regards to labor negotiations, because it has clear effects for both teachers and for students. Thank you.
Thank you, Jess.
That concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Sharkey. Our next speaker, please, Chris Bayron.
Good morning. I just want to just kind of build on a few things that my brother Sharkey just said. Charter schools like to call themselves charter public schools, right? And I think we all agree we pay taxes and, they're funded by our taxes. They're public school children. I, as a person who works in one of them, I'm a public servant. I'm there to serve the kids. But the question is, how is that public institution being overseen, and where is the the accountability for the public interest. Who's guaranteeing the public interest? I heard in some comments earlier from Mr. Guzman. He said he'd like to identify some institutional trends. Always watching out for institutional trends. I've got one for you. And I also heard Chairman Clark mention that charters are held to the same standards as everyone else. And finally, in Ms. Bradley's presentation, it was shown that there is accountability and oversight is happening in charter schools. However, when during the Acero last contract negotiations, we found that they were sitting on $16 million of public tax dollars that they were not required to keep in reserve all of that money, and we had to strike in order to get them to move $1 million out of administrative salaries this year into frontline classroom resources. So I feel like we're doing your job for you, right? These are public tax dollars. When at CICS now, they're sitting on $36.5 million. They're only required to keep back $8 million, according to CPS. And they won't release those funds because we want smaller class sizes. Kids deserve it. The public's already paid for it. We need some accountability to make that happen. We want special education resources. We want counselors for traumatized children. And we want equal pay for equal work. When charters are getting more funding per pupil than district schools, it's about time that we stop this terrible turnover. It's not right by our students. And so our members, right, in order to perform the accountability that I would expect from this board as a member of the public, may have to go out on February 5th and stand in the cold and strike and go without paychecks in order to get what our students deserve. The money's there. It's the right thing. You should be helping us in this work, and we shouldn't have to stand in the cold to make schools better places. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barron. Mr. President, I'll proceed with the speakers list.
Okay.
Our first speaker will be speaker number 1, please, Matt Major, followed by speaker number 2, Noreen Gutenkast, and then we'll have a group of speakers. Speaker number 3, Jennifer Biggs, speaker 12, Jennifer Jones, and 43, Federico Waitoller. Please state your name.
Matt Major. Good morning, Dr. Jackson, members of the board, and President Clark. My name is Matt Major. I'm the policy manager at the Illinois Network of Charter Schools. At INCS, we believe that every family in Illinois should be afforded the opportunity to choose a high-quality public school for their student. In this spirit, we thank the board for extending renewal terms to 6 charter public schools in the city that serve in neighborhoods from Rogers Park to Roseland. These schools serve almost 15,000 students in the city of Chicago. As we advocate for students and families to have the choice to attend the public school that best fits their needs, INCS also supports and strongly encourages a fair, transparent, and equitable renewal process. This is evident through our collaboration with the district on initiatives and policies like GoCPS, SQRP, and the Charter School Quality Policy. To ensure that students and families are equipped with the information they need to make the right public school choice, it is vital that renewal evaluations, criteria, and decisions are based on the merits of the school's performance and not political or public pressure. CPS leadership and I&I staff have vastly improved the transparency and processes related to charter public school closures, expansions, and replications through the Charter School Quality Policy. Similar to our partnership with the district on GoCPS and SQRP, INCS would love the opportunity to work with the district to improve the renewal process and set these same clear, transparent standards in place. Particularly, INCS and the charter public school sector are interested in setting clear criteria for a 10-year renewal term, which is now allowed by law. Additional transparency will help charter public schools in Chicago better plan for the years ahead and provide more stability to the parents and students they serve. And on the topic of stability, INCS and member charter schools continue to work in good faith with the district to ensure equitable and stable funding for the remainder of the school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Major. Our next speaker, please, Noreen Gutenkast.
Good morning. I'm speaking about the issue of overcrowding and excessive class size in CPS. As a former primary teacher and now a CTU staffer, I'm aware of 25 class size complaints that have been submitted by teachers this year frustrated by a big class size. And these 25 referrals only represent a fraction of oversized classes because CPS does little to nothing to remediate these excessive sizes despite our contract provisions, and our members often don't bother to file a complaint because they don't think it'll make it a difference. One of the most egregious cases is Grissom Elementary on the east side, which has over 40 children in 4 of its grade levels and 30 to 40 children in 3 additional grade levels. This has gone on for years at Grissom, and it was recently exacerbated when the local Catholic school closed. This is a school that needs immediate relief. Another glaring case is that of Wentworth in Englewood, with 39 kindergartners in 1 classroom with 1 teacher, while there is a vacant kindergarten room that is sitting next door. Where is the opportunity for these kids to have what 5-year-olds need? To experience the joy of learning, to sing, to have story time. For 11 of these 39 children, this is their first year in school. And it's impossible for the teacher, despite all of her skills, to give those children what they need. Our current contract with CPS mandates that a teacher assistant be placed in oversized K-2 classes. And this is a step forward, but often half of a year or more passes before any assistance ever arrives. This year, virtually nothing has been done to mitigate excess class sizes in any grade that's over 2nd grade. For example, the 36 kids in the 5th grade class at Greeley. We need real enforcement mechanisms that would require CPS to provide additional teachers and assistants, not endless foot dragging. That is why in these contract negotiations, we intend to get CPS to agree to enforceable lower class sizes. We will fight for this through our contract
Ms.
negotiations.
Gutenkast, thank you for your comments.
And we know that the parents will be on our side.
Thank you. And Mr. President, if I may call up the next speaker is speaker number 59. Her name is Belinda McKenney, and she's going to speak about the Wentworth class sizes.
Okay.
Good morning, President Clark, Dr. Jackson. My name is Belinda McKinney. I'm a product of CPS Public Schools. I went to Westinghouse Area Vocational High School West and Lathrop on the west side. I come to you this morning to speak in reference of my grandchild who's in this classroom at Wentworth Elementary School. He's one of 39. She had 40, now it's 39. Granted that Ms. Harrison is a very remarkable and dedicated person, she has 39 children with no teacher assistant at this time. The children there are being denied the excitement of learning and the total experience of learning to love education. Kindergarten should be fun, should be exciting. They should be learning how to read and write and develop their communication skills. And I feel that having a class size of 39 to 40 has great disadvantages. We look at the lack of space. I walk into the classroom, there's no space in the classroom with those 39 children. They don't have the proper resources. She spends less time on instructional best practices while she's trying to do classroom management. My biggest issue here is the safety. My grandchild is asthmatic. What happens if they go outside to play and he has an asthma attack on the playground? Luckily, I'm there to support him and to give him his pump when he needs it. So I ask you, as a board, what are we going to do to help the teachers who do have over class size in their schools, the overcrowding? Thank you. Belinda McKinney.
Thank you.
President Clark, can I speak really
Please.
quickly to Wentworth? Overall, for the schools that do have, oversized classrooms, we are working towards creative solutions such as teachers' assistants, which you mentioned, looking at staffing and where there's vacancies. Our talent office has been supporting that, as well as looking at scheduling and supporting leadership at local schools around scheduling. Specifically as it relates to Wentworth, I do have an actual update on Wentworth. Right now, we do have a second kindergarten position that is open and vacant at Wentworth, and I know that the principal has received some candidates and has started the interview process. And so once that interview process is complete and a teacher selected, then the classroom will be split and it'll be 20 and 19.
Okay. And also with the first grade classroom, they have 31.
Thank you for bringing this to the board's attention, although we had learned of this earlier. I think you used the number 40. Obviously, that's too big.
Right. It was 40 in October, and I submitted a class size referral, and now it's at 39.
Yeah, which is still too big.
Definitely.
I think that from Chief McDade, it's clear that she's aggressively addressing this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the next speaker approached the podium, the next speaker then will be speaker number 4, Ray Salazar, followed by speaker number 5, Michael Curran, 30, Evelyn Morales, and speaker 50, Ebodi Odonukan. Sorry. Ms. Biggs?
Good morning. Jenny Biggs, CPS parent of 3 in Illinois. Raise your hand. First of all, thank you very much for having the presentation from the OIG and the OSP this morning. That was very helpful, and I hope you're going to make a lot of that public so that parents and educators can see all that information. Today we are here to present and discuss a research project, Raise Your Hand supported, entitled High School Application and Placement for CPS Students with Disabilities. An education consultant who recently had both of her kids graduate from CPS noticed the tremendous amount of concern, frustration, and anger expressed by CPS parents about the lack of information and support provided to parents of students with disabilities on the critical transition to high school. She reached out to us to ask if we might form a volunteer group to research the issue and unearth current problems as well as potential solutions. We assembled a task force including CPS parents with children who have disabilities and education researcher Dr. Federico Weitoler, Associate Professor of Special Education at UIC. Some volunteers interviewed elementary school case managers, while others did online research or requested information through email or by phone. Once collected information was analyzed to provide deeper understanding about the high school placement process for students with disabilities. A survey was sent out through all of our channels requesting responses from parents of students with disabilities currently in 7th through 10th grades. The survey asked parents to share their opinions on needs and challenges encountered in the current system of high school application, selection, and placement. To better understand the survey's results, the work group conducted a focus group, which was facilitated by Weitoler, who has experience in qualitative research. Results from all of the above were analyzed and compiled. The report contains key findings as well as a set of recommendations for multiple stakeholder groups, the district, high schools, elementary schools, and parents of students with disabilities. In an incredibly short amount of time, this dedicated group carried out an impressive work plan in order to help CPS improve the high school transition process for its most vulnerable students. We are excited to present this to you today, yes, and look forward to the implementation of the recommendations. We really think you should take a serious look at this and work on some of these great recommendations that these fantastic parents have come up with. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our next speaker, please, Ms. Jones.
I'm Jennifer Jones, CPS parent and Raise Your Hand Action. I'm pleased to share several findings and recommendations from the report. Through our research, we have confirmed that with the current application system and resources, finding information about high school programs for students with disabilities is incredibly difficult. We spoke with a case manager who said, "The current system for a child with disabilities is like applying to an imaginary high school, because in GoCPS, you can't see if the supports and services a child is currently receiving are available at the high school they are applying to." We recommend that CPS develop a publicly accessible, searchable database that includes details such as all program types at a given school, application and acceptance criteria for each program, and facilities information. We also receive feedback that open houses are not geared to students with disabilities and present little information about programs and support. We propose appropriate access to high school tours and open houses at all schools. This includes universal access and information about special education services for all general open houses, separate tours specifically for students with disabilities, and special ed programming virtual tours. We also found that there's a lack of quality indicators for parents of students with disabilities to make selections. We recommend that CPS provide both opportunities and outcomes for students with disabilities by developing a set of quality indicators for monitoring special ed programs at the individual school level. Supports and services need to be transparent. Parents and researchers should be included in the development of these indicators. Understanding the placement process is critical in deciding where students should apply for high school. We found that CPS families and staff lack understanding about the high school placement process for students with disabilities. We recommend that CPS clarifies the process for high school placement for students with extensive support needs. They need to be fully included in placement decisions. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. And our next speaker, please, Mr. Weitoler.
Yes, my name is Federico Boitoller. I'm an associate professor at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and I collaborate in this report with my two colleagues. I'm going to expand on two other findings from the report. The first one is that we found test scores as a primary admission criteria for high school reduces the option for students with disabilities to access them. Through an analysis of the CPS high school program list obtained by the CPS website, we find the incredible weight given to test scores is clearly a barrier to high school program access for students with disabilities and their parents. But about 31% of the high schools require NWA scores to apply. These requirements are clear obstacles for students and parents at the time they're considering and applying for a school. We also found that transition plan is an opportunity for improving high school application and placement for students with disabilities. However, parents in focus groups and completing the surveys mentioned that counselors and case managers did not know all possible placement options for children with disabilities, and in some cases, some information was treated as a secret just to be shared with a few. Transition teams, including parents, counselors, and case managers, need to understand in greater detail about offerings for high school for students with disabilities in order to make informed decisions and in where to apply for schools. This includes access to the least restrictive environment with respect to service delivery model, academic formats, access to career pathways that are most appropriate given the nature of the student's needs, strengths, and interests. School counselors and case managers need to play a key role supporting parents and students with disabilities. Accordingly, we recommend that CPS creates a training protocol for elementary school case managers and counselors to understand the high school application and placement process for students with disabilities. Regarding the test scores, we recommend that CPS allowed IEP teams to decide if NWA scores are appropriate criteria for placement in high school programs for students with disabilities, and waive NWA requirements when the IEP team recommends a high school that fits the individual needs of the child in the least restrictive environment. Thank you.
Thank you.
President Clark, can I respond to the group? First, I want to thank Raise Your Hand and the task force for putting this together. Just to share a quick anecdote, I was at Youngman Elementary earlier this year during the application process and actually spoke to a parent who talked about some of these challenges, and right away reached out to Liz Keenan and our Office of Access and Enrollment to see what could be done this year to make the process, first of all, more fair and equitable for students with disabilities and their gen ed peers. So we do have a modified process in place. However, as we think about the next phase of Go CPS, including more elementary schools, taking on this issue is a big part of that. And thank you for doing a lot of the legwork. So we'll be following up, and I would like you to provide our ODLSS and our Office of Access and Enrollment with the detailed briefing on the findings in here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll continue. Our next speaker, please. Ray Salazar, speaker number 4.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm a father, a teacher, and I write about education and Latino issues. My name is Ray Salazar. This is the third time that I've stood before this governing body with the same request. Give Hancock College Prep the building that our community deserves. We did not choose the title of selective enrollment. The title fell on us. And in our leaky, inadequate building that's cold in the winter and hot in the spring and the fall, we figured things out. Now, in our 4th year with this elite title, we thrive in our rundown building. Still, we remain a neighborhood school. 90% of our students live in the surrounding zip codes. Over 5,000 students applied for 200 seats this fall. This is why the Hancock community deserves a better building than the one we've been promised. Our new building's steering committee has been described as nice, and we are. It's also been described as sophisticated, and we are. Our utmost guiding principle is that this new building add more to our school and not take away anything from our community. And we did the math. We found out that our students lose. The designs don't have enough classrooms. We don't have a space where all 1,000 students can gather for assemblies or pep rallies. According to the Public Building Commission, because of the Midway Airport flight paths, the building can only be 2 floors. Our current building is 4 floors. So there goes the idea for a rooftop garden that I was hoping for, because I know that Jones College Prep got one. There's no space for a landscape garden like Northside College Prep, no athletic field like Peyton, and we can't even get a parking lot like Whitney Young. The Hancock community did not take part in the decision to buy the old lot on 64th and Long. Therefore, we should not be forced to accept this location for our building. I'm the only one here, but I'm not the only one that you will hear from if this project moves forward in the current location. I understand that the budget for our building increased to $80 million, and Hancock deserves at least that. I've lived on the Southwest Side my whole life. I've been educated and miseducated in our district, and I've learned one thing, that this city has money for what it wants. And today, I ask all of you, the governing board of this district, to want an adequate building for our Southwest Side students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very
Salazar.
much. Artie, any comment?
What I will say is I know that there are, kind of two paths going down right now. I know that, the aldermen, host monthly community meetings, where education is main focus, and I know that there's a meeting taking place today. So I will make sure to contact our representatives led by Frank Pilecki, the chief of policy, to make sure we download ahead of that meeting. And I also know that there are some additional meetings specific with the Hancock community, including some of the requests that they've made. And I will make sure that we make ourselves available to kind of hear what those requests are and see how we can work within the confines of the budget, but also with our partners at PBC, to incorporate as much as we can from the school community.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the next group approaches the podium, the next speakers will be the designated speaker for Namaste 42, Allison Slade, followed by speaker number 7, Catherine Myers-Crum, and 46, Kirsten Villers. Michael Curran, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. President Clark, members of the board, and Dr. Jackson. I am Michael Curran, proud principal of Chicago Math and Science Academy located in Rogersburg. CMSA is a 6th through 12th grade public charter school that has an impressive 15-year track record of providing a high-quality college prep and STEM-focused education. During the past charter term, we were able to maintain a level 1+ rating the entire time. This is an undeniably clear predictor of how future will look like at CMSA. Our CMSA family will continue to be committed to providing all children, wherever they call home, for whatever reason that brings them to our community, a quality educational experience that is equitable and inclusive and offers all students access to the networks that support life success. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Office of Innovation and Incubation, Mary Bradley, for her guidance and support, and also Dr. Jackson for her encouragement and support in our work. And I would like to highlight a few major accomplishments during the past charter term. U.S. News World Report has been recognizing CMSA as one of the best high schools in the entire nation. And most recently, in the past 2 years, CMSA was named as the #1 charter high school in the entire state. 100% of the 2017 and 18 CMSA graduates, they were accepted into college. CMSA graduates usually go to local and in-state colleges such as Loyola, UIC, IIT, Urbana-Champaign, as well as some prestigious colleges like Northwestern University, University of Chicago, Cornell University, Brown University, and many others. This year, for the very first time, one of our seniors was accepted into Princeton University, which is ranked as country's #1 college, according to U.S. News World Report. And our seniors have accumulated almost $40 million in merit-based scholarships during the past charter term, and that averages to be $100K per student. Thank you very much.
You have a lot to be proud of. Thank you.
The list continues, President Clark. I wish I had more time.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please, Evelyn Morales.
Hello, my name is Evelyn Morales, and I'm a sophomore at Chicago Math and Science Academy. I will read a statement written by the fellow student Kimberly Dominguez. Kimberly is a student at our school. I've been attending to the school since 6th grade. I come from a family of 7. My older sister was first-generation student that graduated from CMSA. She's a good example to follow since she motivated me to do better and to be more involved. Because of this, I also wanted to be a good leader for my younger siblings who also attend to CMSA and inspire them to be better every day. Throughout my 5 years of CMSA, I've been given the opportunities to be involved in clubs such as National Honor Society, volleyball, and basketball team, and I'm proud to say that I'm the president of the Ambassadors Club. I also had experience of being part of the first all-girls robotics team that won our multiple choice awards and made it to the state's finals. The teachers at CMSA go above and beyond and out their ways to support their students. They also want us to succeed and support us by providing tutoring, home visits, parents and student conferences, etc. They are dedicated to their jobs and do better at the very best, and by not only giving support, but also out of the school by guiding us. Overall, I had enjoyed my time at CMSA, and I cannot wait to give the time to have left before graduating next year. These are some of the reasons why I feel a charter school should be renewed. I personally have realized how CMSA plays a huge role in my life since the beginning of 6th grade. The teachers have high standards for students and never want students to reach to failing. CMSA overall has high expectations and performances for everyone. This school is full of opportunities, such as being an ambassador. With this experience, it has helped me get through out of my comfort zone, and I had the opportunity of meeting new people, and most importantly, continue to grow in leadership throughout my school. Hopefully, I will be able to make it through high school through the last 2 years left and get to college that I will be looking
Ms.
forward to
Morales?
successfully and thank this school. We are one of the reasons why our school should be renewed.
Thank you for your comments. And the next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
My name is Adeboye Oyedoku. I'm a parent of 6 girls. 2 had already graduated from CMSA. 1 is currently in the 12th grade. I'm also a staff member as a paraprofessional working with special education departments. CMSA is a school of choice for my children. First, because of its academic excellence. The school focuses on core subjects, science, technology, engineering, and math. Second, for its family-like atmosphere. It's a place where interpersonal relationship highly exist. As a parent, I enjoy an atmosphere where my contributions are recognized. A school that prepares my children for college and social life. An institution where I have freedom to interact with teaching and non-teaching staff to express my feelings. Home visit has been an integral culture of CMSA, which has been a tremendous help to my family. It promotes student-teacher and parent-teacher relationship. No wonder CMSA has been recognized as a level 1+ school for 4 years in a row. As a staff member, I enjoy working with committed staff members where student success is the major priority. This is reflected in the academic achievement of my children. The 3 were honor roll students. Through the knowledge they acquire at CMSA, the first 2 are able to thrive very well socially and academically at UIC's biomedical engineering department. What I'm saying in essence is I'm one of the voices of the students, parents, and teachers who are not here this afternoon to express their mind that CMSA is a citadel of learning where excellence thrives. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker, please. Designated speaker for Namaste, Allison Slade, speaker 42.
I guess it's afternoon. So good afternoon. My name is Allison Slade, and I'm the founder of Namaste Charter School. I currently work as a director for the Staines Family Foundation, but I sit on the board of Namaste. And we're just here today to thank the board, the Office of Innovation and Incubation, and Dr. Jackson and her staff for all of the support that they've given to Namaste. We are celebrating our quinceañera this year, so we are 15 years old, and look forward to 5 and many more years of operation. Namaste was founded in 2004 in order to combine the needs of health and wellness with academic rigor in our peaceful school environment on the Southwest side. We are proud to be 6 years before Michelle Obama came up with that idea. And we are proud to be the only school in Chicago to have received both the Gold Award from the Alliance for a Healthier Generation and the Gold Award of Distinction from the USDA as a healthy school environment. And what we're most committed to is the heart of charter schools, which is to experiment, to innovate, to try new things, and to share those learnings with our partners, both in the charter and the public school, traditional public school settings. And so we have done that many times. We are the first school in Chicago to have had a salad bar, and now they're all across the city. We have pioneered restorative justice practices. We are an Ashoka Changemaker school. We were a pioneer in the dual language world, having had a K through 8th grade academy for the last 15 years. So we look forward to many more visits from you, Dr. Jackson, and from the board. And we just thank you for your consideration of our renewal and are excited about the opportunity to continue to work with all of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Slade. And our next speaker, please, speaker number 7, Catherine Myers-Crum.
Good afternoon. I am the proud executive director and founder of Great Lakes Academy. We opened in 2014, 5 years ago, on the southeast side with just kindergarten and first grade, and are now proud to serve over 340 students in grades K through 5. All of our students reside in our neighboring community. In the past 5 years, our scholars and staff have demonstrated tremendous growth, and we are incredibly proud of their hard work and that we've become a fully integrated member of the southeast side community. At our public rechartering hearing, we had 24 individuals come out and support, and a dozen staff, families, and board members testify regarding the tremendous community support for the school and the deep positive impact our school has had on our students' lives. We've worked together to build a school that we can all be proud of, that supports our scholars to reach their fullest potential as individuals through academic and character growth. Among a few of the highlights in the past several years, in our first 4 years of operation, nearly every grade has scored above the 90th percentile in growth in reading and math on fall to spring NWEA. In the past 2 years on the park, our scholars have scored well above the city and state average in ELA and math, and we performed at the top this past year in park on the ELA exam. We've received a level 1+ and level 1 rating in our first 2 years of rating and are very proud of that. And one of the key indicators of success, 76% of our third graders are reading at or above grade level, which is a key indicator of future success and college success, which is our goal for all of our scholars. We've also worked hard to build a social emotional programming, extracurricular programming for our scholars, which we continue to work hard on, including a full-time social worker and culture specialist since our second year, a calm classroom program and guided meditation programs, responsive classrooms, conflict resolutions, monthly parent workshops that support social emotional growth and academic growth, and SEL-driven morning meetings across the school. We've partnered with several community organizations.
Ms. Myers-Crum.
Okay, thanks so much, and this is our board chair.
Thank you for your comments.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Jackson, President Clark, members of the board. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to say a few words on behalf of Great Lakes Academy. My name is Kirsten Villers, and I've been the chair of the board of Great Lakes since 2017. Here with us today in the audience is Steve Krause, our founding board chair as well. At Great Lakes Academy, we're firmly committed to the notion that all of Chicago's children deserve a world-class education. And our leadership, staff, families, and board work together day in and day out to achieve this goal. In our first 5 years of operation, we as a school are proud to have delivered on the model laid out in our original charter and to have achieved exceptional academic results for our scholars. In addition, we believe deeply in a whole child approach to education and have worked hard to provide resources to our scholars beyond simply excellent instruction in the classroom. Great Lakes Academy has a full-time music teacher on staff, a character and fitness class, numerous opportunities for public speaking and growth, including an annual poetry slam, spelling bee, math Olympics, and we're in the process of investing in building a grant-funded playground in order to provide our students with safe and accessible outdoor play space. As we look to the future, our board and leadership team are energized and committed to broadening our reach as we expand organically to serve students from kindergarten through 8th. And further, we hope to build our facilities, and long-term vision is for our school to be a true anchor in the South Shore community with after-school programming for both children and adults. In closing, I'd like to thank the board for your consideration and support as Great Lakes Academy looks forward to our next 5 years, working together with Chicago Public Schools to provide children in our South Shore neighborhood the world-class educational experience that each and every one of them deserves.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Villers. And our next speakers, Mr. President, will be speaker number 10, please, Christopher Murphy, followed by the designated speakers from Gary Comer College Prep. We'll have speaker number 22, please, Cynthia Clark. Speaker number 37, Tracy Brewer, and speaker 51, Myoshia Bailey, please. Mr. Murphy?
Good afternoon, President Clark, board members, and Dr. Jackson. As a former Chicago Public Schools teacher, suburban principal, and current chief of strategic growth and communications for Concept Schools, it is a privilege to speak with you today. I'm here in support of the recommendation for the charter renewals of 2 Concept Network charter schools, Horizon Science Academy Southwest Chicago and Chicago Math and Science Academy. Since opening in 2014 in Gage Park, HSA has steadily grown as a top choice for families looking for a STEM-focused and college preparatory education in a state-of-the-art facility with science and tech labs and a huge gymnasium. Now serving 735 kindergarten through high school students, HSA will graduate its first class of seniors this spring, to which all of you are invited. Established in 2004, CMSA is where excellence thrives. For the fourth year in a row, CMSA received a level 1+ rating from CPS, and it was recognized by U.S. News & World Report as the #1 public charter high school in Illinois. Serving 600 middle and high school students, CMSA has become a cornerstone within the Rogers Park community, regularly partnering with local businesses, community leaders, and traditional public schools to enrich the lives of all that work and live in Rogers Park. Concept Schools values an engaged school community, and I'm thrilled to be a part of this board meeting today during National School Choice Week. Be it a traditional public, charter, magnet, private school, online academy, or homeschooling, all families deserve the right to choose the best K-12 educational option for their children. Never before has school choice proven so important. Parents want choice. National surveys repeatedly indicate that parents want public schools, public charter schools as an option for their child's education. Choice leads to student success. With the autonomy to increase instructional time, many charter students are in school longer than their traditional school peers, and charter school students are making gains that outpace their district peers. Choice empowers advocacy and strengthens communities. Through the lens of charter schools, families are finding their voice and lawmakers are taking notice. With that in mind, I want to restate my support for the recommendations for charter renewals of Horizon Science Academy Southwest Chicago, Chicago Math and Science Academy, and all charter renewals recommended to you today.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
My name is Cynthia Clark, and I am a Noble Network parent. More specifically, I am a Gary Comer College Prep parent. My daughter Naja is a 15-year-old sophomore, but before that, I homeschooled her through 7th and 8th grade. I would have homeschooled her all the way through high school, but she wanted to have a true high school experience. So although I was nervous and slightly reluctant, I understood her need and desire to experience high school with peers and young people like herself. So I started doing my own research with specific criteria. Number one, I'm not currently driving, so I wanted a school that was close to home just in case she needed me. I wanted a place, number two, with a culture that was capable of helping a formerly homeschooled kid fit in. Number three, I wanted a nice environment for Naja, something clean, with a diverse staff that was truly interested in her academic achievement. My family found all that and more at Gary Comer College Prep in our neighborhood of Greater Grand Crossing. The school is easily accessible by public transportation and vehicle. The staff has created a fun yet disciplined environment that's balanced. The facility is beautiful. It mimics a college campus that adds to the decor of our neighborhood and a youth center. But most importantly, my belief is that this school has set high academic standards for my baby. Not only that, the Noble Network has afforded my daughter opportunities that I never thought of, like the opportunity to participate in the Summer of a Lifetime program on a college campus, so she might be at Wash U this summer. It's my sincere desire, along with other parents, residents, that you vote yes to renew our charter at Noble Network. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the next speaker, Tracy Brewer, please. Last call. Moving on to Myosha Bailey. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Myosha Bailey, and I am a grandparent of an 8th grader named Bobby Bailey at Gary Comer Middle School, a school in the Noble Network. I am here to ask you to renew Noble's charter. This is Bobby's first year at Gary Comer Middle School, and because of her positive experience, she will be moving on to Gary Comer College Prep High School next year. 8th grade is a very important year for a student, especially in the city of Chicago. How a student performs and the support they get often determines what high school opportunities a student will have, which ultimately dictates how prepared they will be for college. At Bobby's previous school, there was a lack of communication between the school and the parents. The school was not preparing her for high school, and she was not getting the support she needed to succeed. These factors led Bobby's mom and I to look for another school that we felt catered to Bobby's needs. The first school that came to mind was Gary Comer Middle School because Bobby's older sister participated in an after-school matters program that was hosted there, and we loved the experience she had. Since Bobby has been at Comer, her test scores have improved, and there are clear expectations that are communicated to Bobby and her parents. The school also offers many events and workshops for parent development. I am a proud member of the GCMS Parent Advisory Council. We have hosted fundraisers, planted events, and have informational sessions about the transition from middle school to high school. Comer has even invited parents to volunteer and support students on projects that they are currently working on. Please renew Noble because their schools are teaching students about life and how to navigate through challenges. Every student should have an option to go to a school that is invested in their success like Noble Schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bailey. And our next speakers from the Johnson College Prep School will be speaker number 13, please, Darlene Green, followed by speaker number 24, Wilhelmina Harris. After those two individuals, we will call speaker number 18, Matt Nix, followed by speaker 38, Constance Jones. Please state your name, Ms. Green.
Hi, my name is Darlene Green. I am a parent of a Johnson College Prep. Go Pumas. I would like to inform you that Johnson College Prep is more than a school, it's a family. I was recommended from Johnson College Prep by mutual friends that understood that my daughter had problems at her prior school where her grades lapsed. And Mr. Brown took time to talk and sit down with me and my daughter and let her come in at summer school. Then she went in as a sophomore. So now we have an additional family. Ms. Kemp is her advisor that was handpicked, and Ms. Feldman is in specialized services that gives it the hands-on touch whenever I have issues with my daughter concerning her 504 plan and her safety plan. And it's not just a name of a school, it's something that you can be proud of to wear, as you can see, because this has made my daughter go to school when she's sick. She just wants to be there. And she goes through the hallways and the principal knows her name. So that makes her like, oh, he recognized me, he remembers me. So it's always encouraging for them to know their students by name, and Mr. Brown does that. And lastly, I am proud of being a parent of a Johnson College Prep student because meeting people there has changed my daughter's decision about school and what she wants to do. She's already talking about colleges and things that she wasn't talking about at the previous school that didn't focus her and put her in the right direction. But at Johnson College Prep, they made a change in my child's life, and that's why I chose Johnson, and that's why I think Johnson College Prep should have a renewal because it's just only on 63rd and Stewart, but it has a big heart and it has big potential to do big things with your help. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Green. And the next speaker, please, 24, Ms. Wilhelmina Harris.
Good afternoon, members of the board. It is my honor to speak with you this afternoon regarding charter renewal of Noble Network of Charter Schools, and more specifically, the future of Johnson College Prep and our children. The future of our children is dictated by the decisions that we make daily. Society tells us that students will only be able to live productive and fruitful lives if they are well-led and educated. At Noble Schools, I see not only students being uplifted, but I also see parents uplifted. To go out into the neighboring communities such as Inglewood, Auburn, Gresham, South Shore, and the like, empowered to share their enthusiasm for living, learning, and the love of community. At Johnson College Prep, my scholars, Carmen and Mariah, have both learned to become part of a diverse proactive community where teachers give their all and children, students, listen attentively. Carmen is an 11th grader and plans on becoming an obstetrician, and Mariah is a 2018 honor roll graduate. We need our Noble schools. We need schools on the South Side like Johnson that enable our youth to excel and compete with private and parochial schools that have STEM and coding programs, equipping them with the necessary skills to be successful and engaged at college and continue down forthright paths. Educating youth takes a calling, and one must possess the wherewithal to do this complex work every day. I want to ensure that you all realize how essential Noble Network charters are. It has been effective in educating thousands at a high level across the great city we
Ms.
all call
Harris?
home. It is my hope that we will continue to graduate successful, talented, and socially conscious young adults for years to come.
Thank you, Ms. Harris.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, please. Matt Nix.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I'm Matt Nix, Chief College Officer for the Noble Network. Our mission statement as an organization includes helping each of our students attend and graduate from college. And due to the hard work of our students, parents, and teachers, I'm proud to report that we are achieving a high level of success in meeting that goal. Despite the fact that our 17 high schools are open enrollment, meaning any CPS student can attend, our 89% college enrollment rate is on par with this district's selective enrollment high schools. 80% of Noble graduates matriculate directly to four-year universities, which is nearly double the CPS average as a whole. We're also working hard to make sure that those Noble alums who go to college actually graduate. Our current six-year bachelor's rate for Noble alums is 32% and improving each year. Nationally, only 12% of students from the same income demographics that Noble serves finish college. With the continued innovation of the college team, which I lead, we expect to see extraordinary achievement as Noble solves challenges not just with college attendance, but with persistence and graduation as well. We're particularly proud of the record of our DACA students, or Dreamers. With the help of our Pritzker Access Scholars Program, which started in 2015, our DACA alums are projected to graduate from college at a rate of 70%. This compares to 5% for DACA college students nationally. DACA students are not eligible for federal college grants and loans, which is why we established a special scholarship program for them. But our Noble class of 2018 earned nearly $500 million in college scholarships, amounting to 37% of all the scholarship money awarded to CPS students last year. What we're doing at Noble is working, although we're always striving to do better. With an extension of our charter from this board, I'm confident that Noble will be able to provide thousands more students with the academic and financial tools they need to attend college, and that's a win for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nix. And our next speaker, please, Constance Jones.
Good afternoon. My name is Constance Jones, and this is my first time before you as Noble's new Chief Executive Officer. I'm joined here today with many parents, alums, and staff members. Thank you so much for coming. You all have had my back over the past couple of months, and I truly appreciate you. I recognize and appreciate the trust that has been placed in me on behalf of thousands of Chicago students and their families, and more than 1,300 teachers and staff. It is a trust that I do not take for granted. It's been a period of significant change at Noble, but I am eager to bring a new vision and new energy to the continued success of our students and families. Under my leadership, I commit to you that Noble will evolve and grow and find ways to get even better. At the same time, we will not lose the foundation of what has made Noble a proud and vital part of Chicago Public Schools. As of this school year, Noble Schools earned 10 of the top 15 positions on the school quality ratings recently released by Chicago Public Schools and are almost universally the highest ranked non-selected public high schools in the district. Noble has provided and continues to provide a high-quality choice for thousands of parents and CPS, regardless of who they are, where they live, of their economic status, and we will continue to meet and surpass the standards we have set for ourselves and for the district. Your extension of our charter would provide the opportunity for us to continue to serve Chicago as Noble enters its third decade of service in our city. Thank you for your past support and the confidence you have shown me and you have shown us as an organization. With your approval, Noble will continue to provide a path to college and its career success for thousands of students from across our city for years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. And the next speakers are from Pritzker College Prep. We have speaker number 19, please, Linda Santiago, followed by speaker 29, Sheila Castellanos.
Good afternoon. Hello, my name is Linda Santiago. I'm a proud mother of 4, 3 of which attended Pritzker College Prep, a Noble school. When I first was looking for a high school for my second oldest, I didn't find any that really convinced me on providing structure for my student. As a single mother, education alongside with rules and structure is very important for me. Pritzker provided all 3. I visited with my son and was convinced that accountability that provided would help my student. I was very happy with my decision and sent the 2 youngest as well. The second oldest is graduating from UIC with a bachelor's in education. My 3rd child is currently a senior at Pritzker and just accepted into Purdue University, Missouri University of Engineering and Accounting. My youngest is just starting a career at Pritzker. The support that all of my children have received from Pritzker College Prep has been tremendous. My second oldest is constant communication with his alumni counselors after he graduated, receiving any support he needs as he finishes his bachelor's. My 3rd child was a 2.0 student throughout the middle school and oftentimes would struggle. She is now a 3.67 GPA student and loves school. She's in 3 sports, athlete and choir, and a leader in called Snowball. I'm excited for my youngest to follow in their footsteps, even if he's my most hard-headed student. I have confidence that the teachers will be able to work with him and provide him with great education. I'm updated constantly in my students' grades, so there are never surprises when come report card pickup. As soon as something is off on my students, the teachers will immediately reach out and communicate any concerns. As a single mother, that's everything I could ask for. The school takes care of most of my students' needs and communicates with me from time they start to the time they graduate. I can't imagine having my children in any other school. I can see all my children graduating from college. I ask
Ms.
that you please
Santiago?
renew Noble's charters so that other families can have the same experience that I had. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. And the next speaker, please, Sheila Castellanos.
Hi, my name is Shayla, and I graded Pritzker College Prep in 2016. I'm a junior at North Park University, and I found about Noble throughout my mom's friend who had 2 kids who attended Pritzker. She said that both of her kids found success and they love it. My parents came to this country to provide me the best option and believe that Noble was that. And like my dad will always say, lo más lindo que Dios te puede dar es la oportunidad de seguir adelante, which means the most beautiful thing God can give you is an education so you can move forward. No, it's different. It provided me the opportunity to stand out in my college application and allow me to stand out as a proud American Latina. I always remember my time at NOVA as being able to experience so many different things. I took Russian, I played rugby, and I became a leader at my school. Even though I had everything that stuck up against me as a dreamer, Noble showed me that I could beat those odds. Because of my status, I was awarded the Pritzker Access Scholarship to help me live out my dreams. That was only possible through the partnership with Noble and North Park University. Next year, I'll be graduating not only as a dreamer who has lost her family due to deportation, but also the first college graduate in my family. I want older Latinos who are in the similar situations as me to have the same opportunities. And I'm a strong believer that Noble shaped who I am, and I want Noble to continue shaping other students for years to come. So please renew Noble Charter School because it changes lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Castellanos. And the next speaker is from Roll Clark Math and Science Academy, and that would be Cassandra Colvin, followed by a speaker from Mansueto High School, Nick D. Martinez, and then from the Noble Academy, Dina Edwards Reynolds, and the last speaker is from Baker College Prep, Deborah Goodwill, speaker 57. Ms. Colvin?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cassandra Colvin. I am a parent of an alumni student from Roll Clark, a Noble school. I have 3 children who have all were CPS students and have all since graduated from universities. I was an LSC board member for 20 years and serving in my community. I am here to represent Roll Clark because I support the charter renewal of the Noble Network of Schools. My son graduated from Roll Clark in 2012 with a 3.8 GPA. They have put a lot of high expectations on students and parents. I believe the accountability and the emphasis that they put on my son as well as my support paid off. I wanted my son to be one of the I didn't want him to stand on the corner like most children do. I want an education for my son. I want him to be something because he had the potential. As an involved parent, I did just that in high school. I started at home. Noble and Roll Clark reminded me of my home setting because I saw them care about the students. They also involved parents. I wanted to be involved and still am involved in my children's lives because of my relationship with them is important to me as a mother. That is why my son and I chose Noble. My son received a 4-year scholarship of $36,000 from Millikan University in Decatur, Illinois, which is a prestigious college, and not many Black people go to that school. He also got a scholarship from Roll Clark for books for all 4 years, so I'm proud of him. And he's graduated already from that school. He graduated in communications and is now working in a reputable company in Decatur. I want to recommend Noble for renewal so their schools like Roll Clark can continue to give parents and students a choice like I had to get involved in their children's education. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Colvin. Our next speaker, please, Ms. Martinez.
Buenas tardes. Soy la señora Martínez, soy mexicana, soy madre de 4. Uno de ellos asiste a Mansueto, una escuela de Novo. Estoy aquí porque apoyo que aprueben la extensión de charter a las escuelas Novo.
Good afternoon. My name is Ms. Martinez. I'm Mexican. I'm a mother of 4. One of them goes to Mansueto, a school from Noble. I'm here because I support the charter extension to the Noble schools.
Yo escogí Mansueto porque buscaba algo mejor para mi hijo Kevin a nivel académico y con el tiempo fui viendo que sí era lo que yo buscaba. Mi hijo ha crecido mucho, está más seguro de sí mismo y siento que el nivel académico ha crecido bastante. Como persona lo siento más capaz de pedir ayuda cuando la necesita, gracias al respaldo que le han dado los maestros y la escuela. Es más independiente y toma control de sus tareas sin que yo lo presione a completar sus asignaciones. Ahora les ayuda a sus hermanos a hacer la tarea. Antes yo sentía que él era más penoso y se le hacía difícil hacer nuevas amistades. Ahora siento que es más sociable y amistoso y expresa lo que siente con su familia.
I chose Mansueto because I was in search for something with a better and higher academic level for my son Kevin. And as time has passed, I realized this school was really what I was looking for. My son has grown so much in this school. His academic level, as well as his self-esteem, is higher. As a person, I feel he's now more capable of asking for help whenever he needs it. This thanks to the support he has received from the teachers and the school. He's more independent and takes control of his homework without me having to pressure him to complete his assignments. Now he's the one helping his siblings with their homework. He was shy before, and it was difficult for him to make friends. Now he's more social, friendly, and more expressive about his feelings with his family.
Mr. Gobea, el asesor de Kevin, me ayudó a educarme cómo ayudarlo a sacar mejores notas en sus exámenes y cómo apoyar usando diferentes páginas que ofrecían ejemplos y prácticas. Siento que me he sentido apoyada por la administración y los maestros. Les pido que por favor aprueben a Charter de Novo. Como madre merezco la tranquilidad de saber que la escuela de mi hijo permanecerá abierta. Gracias.
Mr. Gobea helped me to educate myself in order to help Kevin to get better grades in his tests and how to support him using different resources and practices that were offered and examples. I have always felt the support of the teachers and the administration as well. I ask you to please approve the Charter of Noble. As a mother, I deserve to have the peace of mind and knowing that the school of my son will remain open. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. The next speaker, please. Dina Edwards Reynolds.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, my name is Dinah Edwards Reynolds. I'm from the south side of Chicago and the mother of two. One is a high school freshman at the Noble Academy, and the other is an 8th grade student. I received my bachelor's degree from Loyola University, and I am the first one to graduate with a college education. Today, I'm here to tell you why I chose Noble and why I believe they deserve a renewal. I chose Noble because I met Ms. Burrows, the principal, during a high school fair. She came to Providence Inglewood to talk about the school, and she impressed me with her willingness to be inclusive and not be dismissive, even when I was skeptical about their learning model. Ms. Burrows said something else that really resonated with me, that she does not believe that students of color are not making it to college. Ms. Burrows was willing to fight for Joshua without even having met him at that time. She invited me to Shadow Day, and I brought my son Joshua with me. Joshua was impressed by the atmosphere and the merit system. He befriended current students and listened to them more than the adults around him sometimes. This helped him to build a community of friends before the school year even started. I'm here because I believe Noble deserves a renewal, and as a parent, I deserve the peace of mind that my child will have a quality school to attend. When I see Noble, I see my children's future, and that is why I'm willing to invest my time and energy in helping them to get this renewal, because I know they will invest in me and my family. We are responsible for the future of our children. I look forward to my son being one of the more people, the next generation to be able to go to college. He's a bright child, and now he loves school, and I just want that for more students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reynolds. And our last speaker for the group, Deborah Goodwill, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you, President Clark, and to the members of the board. My name is Deborah Goodwill, and I'm a parent of a senior at Baker College Prep. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, a master's degree in social work, and a postgraduate degree in marriage and family studies. I've been a social worker for well over 25 years. My social work led me into education because I saw that the challenges that the children were playing out at school was also happening at home. This past year, I recently got married, and my son and I left the south suburb and came to the city of Chicago. When I made that transition for my son, he happened to be a senior in high school, and it was a lot of adjustments because it was his senior year. So he literally had to start all over. So it was vitally important that I chose a school for him for his very last year. Due to this move, he had a lot of emotional challenges, and I wanted to make sure that the school that I chose for him was equipped to support him as well as help him with this last senior year. I have seen such growth in my son, who now has been accepted into 10 colleges and universities, because at Baker Noble, he has a class called College Preparation, and they prepared him to do a FAFSA, financial aid, and also did a lot of community service work, which he is now happy to do, and he doesn't get paid for it. So now Baker has given him the opportunity to have academic rigor, community service work, become a viable citizen of the city of Chicago, and is looking forward to going to school. It is clear that Baker College Noble has done a phenomenal job with my son in just the last 4 or 5 months. It's January, and he's got 10 college acceptance with financial aid and grants and a basketball scholarship. I want you to know that I stand before you asking for you to renew the Charter Noble Schools. It makes a difference.
Ms. Goodwill?
It's made a difference for my son. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
204. Thank you. Mr. President, that concludes the Noble Group. And the next speakers then will be speaker number 15, CDW Chan, followed by speaker number 45, David Wu. We will then have speaker number 17, Nancy Ling, followed by speaker number 20 from Catalyst, Maisha Shields. Mr. Chen?
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is C.W. Chan, the chairperson for the Coalition for Better Chinese American Community. the NTA high school conversion proposal has come to a very dramatic conclusion. For more than 2 years, the Chinatown parents pushed for a neighborhood high school, and the NTA parents fought against the NTA as the only option. And both communities have demonstrated kind of energy and the kind of passion for public interest that all Chicagoans should be proud of. But right now, I think rightfully the attention will be back to the need for a community high school in the near south area. You're probably aware of the fact that we have been attending this meeting continuously for over 2 years. But the high school issue for Chinatown has been a request for the community for many decades, to the point that we have a whole new generation of community parents asking, is it because that we never ever had a community high school, and we have been asking for one for over 40 years, that it is therefore not really a priority that they can say, well, we can ignore them, that they can afford to wait for a little bit longer, or maybe they can wait a lot more longer. So actually, I think we have a consensus that there is a need for a high school in the South Loop area. And also, I think the CPS internal review has also agreed that with our assertion of a high school desert concept in the near south area, and also the rapid growth and the looming need for the area. But then recently, CPS also come up with the idea that we should try to improve the local high school in order to solve the issue of the near south. We believe that the local Southside high school should be improved, but then we should not use it as the excuse or the rationale for evading the really demonstrated need for the near south area. And I think we are in amid the election cycle, and there has been abundance of bold vision for education idea.
Mr. Chan?
Yeah.
Can you please conclude?
We're actually asking the CPS to redirect your attention and focus to something we agree on, and then to bring the whole community together. This is one issue that can unite all of us instead of dividing all of us. We share the same goal, we share the same vision for a community high school, which will become one of the showcase schools for the CPS system. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chan.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. 2 years ago, Chinatown began regularly attending this board meeting, urging CPS to address the longstanding need for a high school in the Armour Square and Bridgeport communities. Dr. Goolsbee, as the newest member, we haven't met you. Some communities talk about a food desert, but we talk about a high school desert. If you go to the CPS website and does filter for high schools, you can't find any high schools. No charter, no citywide, no selective enrollment, no neighborhood high schools. And it's because Italian and Irish families just used to send their kids to parochial school. But now the area, Armour Square and Bridgeport, is nearly 50% Asian. And there's an urgent need for a public high school option that addresses the need of the Chinese immigrants who live there. 2 years ago, there was supplemental capital funds that was made available through the property tax increase. We hope that that a high school might be built for our community. While disappointed, we were glad that Englewood was getting a needed investment. Due to the NTA conversion plan, our community wasn't considered for a new high school after new state funds were allocated to CPS last summer. Honestly, we were less enthusiastic about the Northwest side being earmarked for a high school. As you begin working on next year's budget, we urge you to prioritize capital funds for a high school for the near south side. We've already asked our state rep, Teresa Ma, to recommend capital funds for our new high school in the upcoming, for any upcoming capital bill. And CPS should do the same when it submits a capital budget wish list to Governor Pritzker. There is an obvious location for a high school in the near south side. At a recent community meeting on the 78, Related Midwest expressed willingness to talk to CPS about space for a new school. We've also suggested other locations in the South Loop and Bridgeport to CPS staff. Chinatown is committed to working with CPS and hope that a solution comes soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wu. And the next speaker, please, Nancy Ling.
I'll translate for her later.
Okay.
芝加哥教育局嘅領導們，早上好。我叫梁蘭芳，我嘅英文名係 Nancy Liang， 我從1998年就從中國移民嚟美國我嚟芝加哥咧本來就係同家庭團聚咁我咧響呢個中國教咗31年嘅中文，嚟到呢個 Chinatown 咧，響呢個中華會館，佢有一個中文學校，教咗10年嘅中文咁而家咧響呢個興士庫做咗6年嘅義工咁我作為咧一個家長，因為我有個孫女就響呢個希里小學就讀呢個kindergarten咁以前我係即係我嚟咗美國20年啦我對呢個教育上嘅嗰啲嘢咧，我真係一竅不通咁早2-3年咧就呢個我哋嘅華埠一啲即係領導呢個團體爭取呢個響Chinatown比較近嘅地方咧就建一個高中咁當時我仲係上班所以咧我係冇參加到呢啲咁去爭取個活動咁而家退咗休嘅話咧，咁我咧就係即係覺得呢個咁樣嘅係我哋大家嘅願望咁我仲係覺得可能係得啦最後響上個星期五我睇報紙咧，原來又 cancel 咗咁而家咧就話我哋咧再揾一個好嘅地方大啲嘅地方，仲有咧又話聽講市政府咧有啲資金準備起呢個新嘅學校咁我本人覺得咧起呢個新嘅高中呢個係好有必要咁我哋個小朋友能夠咧喺安靜嘅環境裏邊嚟讀書，有優越嘅呢個教育資源好得啦。
Yeah. My name is Nancy Liang, and I came from China. And in China, I taught school for 31 years. And when I came to Chicago, I also volunteered at the community center to teach the Chinese language. So I cared about the skill education. And my daughter's attending, so I'm volunteering at the local Haines School. And I really cared about education, but don't really know much about the system here. But I heard about recently community has been fighting for a community high school. I thought it was a done deal, and then we found out that, we started all over again. From the perspective, I really feel like the community need that particular high school for our younger generation. And we also heard that there are resources available for the school board, so we hope that you will listen to the community and grant the community which they're asking for.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have to comment on your remarkable memory.
Well, I mentioned about the fact that this has been the quest for the community for over 40 years, and I hope you remember that, and really is a community with passion about the high school.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chin. As the next speaker approaches the podium, I'll call speaker number 21, please. Lynetra Harris, followed by speaker 27, Melissa Carter from the Foundations College Prep. We will then have speaker number 25, Joanna Fricano from CICS. Please proceed.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Maisha Shields. As you can see, I'm a Noble mom. I have two, a freshman and a junior at the Mansueto High School campus, but I'm also a mom to 3 beautiful students over at Catalyst Maria Charter School. I currently have an 8th grader, 7th grader, and a 5th grader. Today, I just come to you to say thank you. Thank you for your continued support of all charter schools and also schools, especially like Maria, to continue to be open, to continue to service the community where we are on 67th in California. The kids, they love their school. They're very hardworking. The kids, they're bringing drama, music. We're trying to bring so many things there for our students because they're amazing. And also, I want to give a shout out to our Lady Wolves. They recently just won the championship. They went 8-0 undefeated. So they're going to the playoffs tomorrow. And, that's it. I just came to say thank you guys for continually support us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shields. And our next speaker, please, Lynetta Harris. Oh, Melissa will go first?
Yeah, we switched order.
Thank you, Melissa. She's speaker 27.
Hello, all. My name is Melissa Carter. I am a parent and a community partner as well. I hold stern to the saying, we can make it if we try. We all can make it if we try, each and every last one of us. At Foundations College Prep, on a given day, depending on Chicago's weather, you'll be able to see kids jogging in the neighborhood from our basketball team, the majorette team, even the basketball team, which is a big deal to be able to see the kids within our community, to run and see them participate within our community. We have dedicated teachers here. Not only do we have dedicated teachers, we're able to come together as a community as we grow and restore our community. One of the biggest things within our community, the morale is being built. The morale is coming back and we're being restored. And so I just ask that you all just renew Foundations College Prep contract. Again, they have dedicated teachers and we are in a community and they're a hidden gem. And so I just ask that you please renew their contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. And our next speaker, please, Lynetta Harris.
Good afternoon. My name is Lynetta Harris. I'm a proud parent of a junior student at Foundations College Prep. My son started there not wanting to go to school, basically had a 2.0 GPA. He's been there for the past 3 years, and his GPA has been a 3.5 and above. He is a thriving young man who did not want to go to college, had no interest in going to college. It was not for him. At this point, he has now been enrolled in the dual enrollment, where he is now earning college credits, and I do hold that as contribute to Foundations College Prep. They have molded him and continuously to mold him. He has stepped up to their rigorous academics and social standards. I do ask that you all do renew their charter, not just because of the things that he's experienced, but the things that they are doing in the community. I look forward to seeing the great things that Foundation has to offer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. And the next speaker, Joanna Fricano. As she approaches, I will call Speaker 28, Nancy Curran, followed by 32, Catherine Henchek. We then have Speaker 33, Gilberto Martinez, and 55, Rosa Nodal.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Johanna Fricano, and I am a parent of a second grader, first grader, and a kindergartner next year at CICS IP, and I'm also the PTO president. I'm here to thank you for your continued support of our school and to just tell you a little bit about my journey and how I found CICS. To this day, I do not remember applying to that school. No recollection whatsoever. I think I did it the same day as I did my application process through CPS as well. We get a letter in the mail saying that we got into CICS IP. I showed it to my husband, was like, I don't know what this is, but let's go check it out. So we went and we walked into the school and we fell in love with the school. Like, we just felt this sense of community as soon as we walked in. So we had checked out our neighborhood school, which is Smizer, which was also a great school. Logistically, Smizer was a problem for us because it has staggered start times, and we're both working parents. So one campus starts at, I think, 8:15, the other one starts at 8:45, so we'd have to have daycare before school and after school, because it didn't work out with our working schedules, and it also didn't have an after-school care program, which was difficult. So we enrolled in CICS, and I really tell people when they ask me, why did you choose it? It was that sense of community that we first, experienced when we went there. But really, I felt like my choice came when my daughter became a kindergartner and my son a first grader, because my intention was to apply to Thorpe, because I live a block and a half from Thorpe. It's literally can see it from my house. But we got into CICS that first year and fell in love. From the moment you drop your kids off and Johnny, we call the mayor of CICS, pulls your kids out of the car and welcomes them, you just feel like you're a part of this community. And having been raised in a town of 1,400 people in Northeast Iowa, I was looking for a really tight community where we could be involved in that school and my kids could grow up and have their lifelong friends at their school. And that's something that we have at CICS. And it's something that, as a lot of charter schools experience, I'm sure there's turnover in staff, and our administration and the charter is somehow able to maintain that sense of community year over year. And again, thank you for your support of charters.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, please, Nancy Curran, speaker number 28.
Hello, everybody. Hello. I just want to talk a little bit about the ethics of CPS and how they treat families. And I'm just going to do a quick quote from Jackie Kennedy, that great First Lady. And one thing that she said is, if you bungle raising your children properly, whatever else you do doesn't really matter much. I agree with that, and I'm going to submit to the board that philosophy is true with the school board and with the C-suite. If you allow CPS employees to go after families as a sport and hurt children in the meantime, nothing else the board does really matters. Nothing that you do with the schools, with Aspen, with new initiatives, it doesn't matter if children are getting hurt. And I'm really happy about the OSP, about those initiatives with student protections for sexual abuse. Does that also count for non-sexual abuse? What about students that need to be protected that are being abused in other ways? I'd like to, wonder if anything around those, what's going on with that. And I'm unemotional about a school board, whether you're elected or whether you're appointed, but no matter how everybody got on there, you still have to pay very close attention to what's going on in our schools. My child, who's a diverse learner, was really, really harmed at Ogden. You got great news. You did get rid of Beyer, although I know you're still paying him, I guess, and I hope that stops soon. But there's like a staff of supporting people that really made Beyer into Beyer. One of them was Chip Johnson, and what did you do? You promoted him. You promoted him. And he, not just me, a lot of parents complained about him. He invited Jadine Chow and Jadine Chow and Liz Kirby to do the same thing, to join his club, to really go against my child, who was 7 years old at the time. And I'm expecting they're going to be made CEOs when Dr. Jackson is gone. You just really have to pay attention to what's going on in your schools.
Ms. Corinne?
Yes. And then can I just talk about the ISBE very quickly, is that I sent you and I sent Dr. or Mr. Clark, a CEO, about the ISBE. ISBE is now overtaking the special education, but now you have an ISBE person that is on the LSC at Ogden, and they are now suing CPS. So I just submit to you that I would like ISBE to be removed if that's going to continue, and maybe bring in the federal government to oversee the special education department. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Our next speaker, please. Speaker 32, Catherine Henchick. Last call. Gilberto Martinez, please. Speaker 33.
Good afternoon, board members and Dr. Clark, or Dr. Jackson, I'm sorry.
I'm a doctor too.
Sorry, sir. My name is Gilbert Martinez, and my daughter is Douglasiliana Martinez. She's a second grader at Carlos Fuentes Elementary School, which is part of the Osegos School Network. These charter schools provide a strong academic foundation for the students in the elementary level to help them master the skills they will need to succeed in high school. And me personally, I really love how the school truly tries to help out the students. I'm saying this because of personal experience. My daughter's a great example of it. The school is helping her catch up to the level that she's in because of with her academics. Because for her second grade academics, because in the school she was in before, they didn't teach her the proper ways of school, and she was falling behind. And now the schools, now the schools are trying to teach her the math and reading skills that she has not retained from the other school. And now, excuse me. And for me, this is truly phenomenal because other schools wouldn't do this for their students. Another thing that makes the school great is having the strong school community. Carlos Fuentes has many parents who are very involved with the school. I volunteer in the Parents Club. We put together activities at the school for the students. Last Christmas, I volunteered to be the Santa Claus. And it was very fun and memorable. Why
did they ask you to be the Santa Claus? What did they try to say?
I had the beard, and I figured it'd be fun. I believe every child in Chicago deserves to go to a great public school, and it is important for parents to have choices. Charter schools like Fuentes give parents a good choice and help us provide our children with the quality education that they deserve. And
Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Can you please conclude?
And that they need to get ahead in life. I am very pleased with the way Fuentes works with my daughter, and I encourage the board to continue the supporting choice for the charter schools by ensuring fair and equal funding. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our next speaker, please, Rosa Nodal. Thank you. We'll move on to speaker number 34, please, Valentin Quintero, followed by speaker number 36, Natasha Erskine. We'll then have speaker number 39, Jennifer Hughes, speaker 47, Mohammed Yildiz, and speaker 52, Paula Bonilla.
Good afternoon, board members. Thank you for the time. My son Mateo, he's a kindergarten student at Grissom Elementary, and I want, as a parent, the best education possible for him. However, at the moment, Grissom Elementary in South Chicago, I should say Headwich, has a crisis going on. At this point, there's 3 classes that are over 14 students, and many other classes have at least 30 students. Grissom is a school that has 1 grade per class. There are now, there's so much time that we need to put in an effort for my son to get to the challenge that he needs to, because the teacher doesn't have enough time to give him in class. We spend about 3 hours doing homework. He's 6 years old, 3 hours, and he has no time to play. I can assure you that if all the parents around the neighborhood had the time to come in here and speak in the microphone, you will have 400 parents speaking out, talking about the problem and requesting for something to be done about the issue. Apart from the overcrowding issue, this is also a safety issue, and it's also a health issue. Our kids have 1 single small gym that is used as a lunchroom and also as an auditorium for the whole school. And they don't even have a library. They have 1 library, but it's used for something else. Just so you get the scope of the situation, the gym is maybe a little bit bigger than this. And you gotta feed almost 400 students. And also, when there's gym, they have to have the gym, when it's weather permits, they have to have it outside. So this is not accommodating for the students. Wealthier communities have asked for less and gained more. We demand a resolution to the problem. We urge you to put our children first. 2 minutes is not enough of the time. We need action. We need funding for the school. We need to expand the school and resolve these everlasting growing overpopulated school. We have the space to build. We just need funding, and we need someone to help us in this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
very
Mr.
much.
Quintero. Our next speaker, please, speaker 36, Natasha Erskine. Please state your name.
Good afternoon. My name is Natasha. I am a parent and local school council member at Dr. King College Prep High School. And as expected, here we are. Today I'm back here to briefly share why Dr. King College Prep school community has no faith in the school administration. Both the principal, Melanie Beatty Sevier, and the assistant principal, Marian Dozier, have shown themselves to be categorically not ready to lead KCP or any other school. The principals failed to adjust and build relationships. The principal categorically abandoned her own 90-day entry plan. The principals failed to keep children safe. I emailed the majority of you when my daughter and other children were put out of the school around the same time a school shooting happened on the very next block and steps away from the school doors. A CPD officer was vigilant and quickly escorted my child and others back into the school. When asked, the principal flat out did not tell the truth and then failed to follow up to address the flawed protocols that left children outside and unaware of a nearby threat. How is this still happening at the same school? Just 6 years ago, a previous principal had the same ideology around putting students outside of the building, and we know what happened to that young lady and her friends. Ms. Beatty Sevier was threatening retaliation against most staff. Since then, she's become emboldened, and she's unlawfully threatened to remove students from National Honor Society, senior activities like their prom, other areas, field trips, because they spoke out on the many concerns they have for the lack of supports around students, particularly the seniors. Despite your own sweeping sexual assault policy changes and ongoing training, Ms. Sevier failed to adequately address her comments linking girls to in a provocative dress, and then also somehow was able to hire her friend, who I'm now told had suspicious character and a public X-rated social media presence, now 2 months into his tenure, is on leave
Ms.
pending an
Hussein.
investigation. I'll finish up here in just one moment. The principals failed to implement the CIWP. None of those areas have started. The official status is behind. The deeply toxic environment has led to 8 staff resignations, and some of our brightest and best are actually pending their exodus soon. The majority of the teachers are concerned about the lack of instructional focus, the decline in academic culture in the building, and low enrollment. Students continue to transfer out of KCP, and there is no visible efforts being made around recruitment, attendance, truancy, tardiness, and many of the other areas that plague our school. We really need to partner with you all. The issues are much deeper. This is not personal. We are begging for you to come and give support at King College Prep. I know our LSE chair sent an email inviting you all out to perhaps a meeting on February 1st. So if you all could make that, it's really bad. And so we're here to say we really need the support of this board and the CEO's office. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker, please, Jennifer Hughes, speaker 39.
Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Hughes, and I am assistant principal, grades 6 through 8 at Horizon Science Academy, located in the community of Gage Park. I have had the privilege of working for this amazing school for 5 years, and I've had the opportunity to witness HSA grow from a K-8 building serving 450 students to a K-12 building serving 737 students. This May, we will have our first graduating senior class. I'm speaking today to request that you grant our charter renewal. HSA upholds the highest academic standards framed by a growth mindset. Our standards-based curriculum, formative assessment techniques ensure that our students receive the best education possible. Our teachers and administrators are committed to professional growth as demonstrated through our data-driven professional learning communities. We provide education programs to meet the needs of all learners. We utilize a multi-tiered system of support that includes English language services, special education services, response to intervention, and positive behavior interventions and supports. 25% of our K-12 students participate in enrichment, honors, and AP coursework in order to prepare them for future college and career. Most importantly, our school is a safe place where our students can take refuge from the challenges they face at home and in our neighborhoods. Our kids love coming to school. Our parents trust that we care for the whole child academically, socially, and emotionally. At HSA, we are a family. Our staff has forged lasting relationships with family and community stakeholders that will forever impact our student lives. Some examples include parent-teacher organization, home visits, tutoring, clubs, sports, and social events. The key to our success is our collaboration. Students, teachers, administrators, CPS, parents, and community members work tirelessly to make this dream a reality. I urge the board to renew Horizon Science Academy's charter. I assure you, you will not be disappointed with the impact we will have on tomorrow's generation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. Thank you for your comments. And the next speaker, please, speaker 47, Mohammed Yildiz.
Dear board members and CPS representatives, my name is Mohammed Yildiz. I'm here to represent Horizon Science Academy Southwest as its principal. HSA Southwest is a K-12 school serving roughly 750 students. When compared to many other schools in size and grade level range, it's clear that HSA Southwest has more on its plate in terms of the variety of the programs and the number of students. HSA Southwest is one school, but with its elementary, middle, and high school section, it functions like a district where 3 schools perform under the same roof. Our school has been well aware of this responsibility and has managed to put a successful program together so far. Within the first 4 years of operation, HSA Southwest was able to achieve level 1 rating, which is the second highest rating in CPS calculation. And our school has also received commendable school summative designation from ISB, which is also the second highest rating in the state report card calculation. HSA Southwest offers an enrichment gifted program, and 25% of 3 through 8 grade students, they receive enriched and accelerated instruction for math and English. HSA Southwest has its students participate in regional, state, national level competition such as FLL, FTC Robotics, Robocon, MathCon, Math League, Art and Music Festival, Concept, and STEMCom, to give them a chance to compare their level with others outside the school. HSA Southwest is a very large and active parent-teacher organization since its opening. I know my time is limited and that I cannot cover everything that our staff, students, and parents and community put together at our school. However, before I finish my statement, I can assure you that all the great things happening at HSA Southwest will get only better with each day that passes that HSA will be a leading school in its neighborhood. With this goal in mind, we ask that you let us continue serving this community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yildiz. Our next speaker, Paula Bonilla, please. Before you begin, let me just call a couple of other speakers, please. Speaker 40, Sean Haynes, and 41, Mike Jakubowski. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Paola Bonilla. This is my second time coming here to speak to you on behalf of our amazing school, HSA, and I couldn't be more honored to have this amazing privilege to simply tell you how great our school is. We are very pleased to be servicing more than 740 families in our Gage Park community. I am both a parent and staff member of HSA. At HSA, there isn't a day where I don't get stopped in the hallway by a parent letting me know how happy they are with our school, how amazing their scholars are doing in math or reading, how happy they are with the modern-day academic implementation. Our parents want to continue supporting their scholars. There are no limitations. For example, if there's a language barriers, we have staff available that can translate it in over 10 different languages inside of our building. Our parents, scholars, and staff take pleasure being part of the HSA family. Our school has friendly and dedicated staff members, from our general homeroom teachers to our amazing custodians. Something that I am personally get motivated from is coming in through the front door every morning and seeing our students. This puts a smile on my face, knowing that I will make a difference today, tomorrow, and the next day to continue supporting in the enrichment of our scholars. No matter if I get an email at 10 o'clock at night letting me know that we have a data meeting the next day, this shows me dedication. It does not show me someone who is working and bombarding me with emails and data emails every night. It is genuine dedication to our scholars and families. We strive to be better than yesterday each day. The students at HSA are privileged not only in their academics, but also in the many opportunities we provide to our students, such as the extracurricular activities we host. By joining the school sports team, students are accountable for maintaining good grades, which increases their GPA and motivates their social and emotional skills. I mean, how many schools offer that in just one building? We are just so privileged and thankful to even offer these classes. I invite you more board members to come out and visit our school. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Does your
Bonilla.
phone flash when you get that 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. email?
On the side of the bed. Like, we already know, and we just work really hard to try better to service our students.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker, please, Speaker 40, Sean Haynes.
Good afternoon, President Clark, Dr. Jackson, and all the members present here on the board today. My name is Sean T. Haynes, and just as a disclaimer, because of my organizational affiliations and the titles that I hold, I'm here today to speak solely as a concerned parent of Simeon High School. We need to know more than Dr. House failed to protect his students, because based on the training I received as an LSC member, it states that the LSC is supposed to have the final say over the hiring and firing of principals unless CPS finds the principals to have committed irredeemable and egregious violations of district policies. Why can't we have a redacted copy of the Office of the Inspector General's report, a detailed list of policies Dr. House failed to follow, and how the actions of Dr. House or lack thereof failed his students, as well as caused his students to be harmed? Finally, the district needs to understand the removing of Dr. House unjustly destroys not only his career, but him. Beside me stand the sisters of Dr. House, and I'll share briefly their letter. Dr. Jackson, you called him one of the best leaders in the district. We know him as a person who takes care of others and puts others before himself. His students and staff love him, respect him, and support him. Since June 25th, 2018, the person we know has begun to fade. He now lays in the hospital bed. On New Year's Day, he suffered a heart failure, and his doctors attributed to stress. He has been hospitalized since New Year's Day, and 9 of those days he was laid in a coma as we were asked to make life-changing decisions. The smile and voice that filled the room has gone quiet. He is unable to sing, walk on his own, or be the independent person he has always been. CPS has not been fair to him. We hope CPS knows how much Dr. House loves his students and staff. We hope CPS knows the sacrifice, the dedication Dr. House has shown CPS and the entire district. We hope CPS knows that Dr. House has put his life into his works. Dr. Jackson and the law department received a letter from Dr. House. We hope that you guys take this letter into consideration. This is killing our brother, and we need him back. Grant him what he has earned, deserves, and needs to move on. We thank you for your time. Me being here today is
Mr. Haynes?
truly just to share information and to ensure that everybody knows what's going on and that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. You all have a great afternoon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Haynes.
Thank you. I empathize with your family's situation, and I'm very sorry to hear it. Thank you.
Our next speaker, please, Mike Jakubowski. Before he begins, I'll call speaker number 44, please, Sequoia Williams, followed by 49, Lou Peister, 54, Omar Tabara, 58, Reynold Perry, and then the last speaker, Speaker 60, Scott Clark. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Jakubowski, and I've served as a principal of the Hope Institute Learning Academy for the past 5 years. I'm seeking approval and renewal for the next 5 years. The Hope Learning Academy continues to strive and grow and looks forward to another 5 years where families and students throughout the city are provided with an elementary school option where inclusion for all children is a norm and where children strive and grow into future leaders and advocates for differences. The mission of Hope is to create a learning environment that supports all students to achieve optimally, regardless of their socioeconomic background, their learning style, or their disability. Our citywide enrollment model allows diverse learners and their siblings to attend the same school, which in turn attracts many families. Our students are and become advocates for inclusion, and students who celebrate and embrace differences. We develop civic leaders who will contribute to society in a meaningful way. Each year, we have served over 20% of students with diverse learning needs, and we continue to serve them and serve them well. We offer a broad range of services that enable each child to reach their fullest potential, and most importantly, provide our students with a sense of hope. We have met the qualifications and served as a certified healthy CPS school. We have received the Creative School Certification rating out of 4 out of 5 points for the past 3 years, ensuring students receive daily experiences centered around the arts. For the past 3 years, families have completed the My Voice, My School survey and provide the school with an 8.9 out of 10 rating, meaning that families have positive experiences at the school and would recommend the school to prospective families. The 5 essential survey results identified Hope school culture and climate as well organized. I am most proud of the full-scale service opportunities offered for our students and families. We partner with Gads Hill, Mindful Practices, and offer before school and summer programming opportunities for our students. In my role as principal, I see students who enter our building at 7:40 and some students who leave at 7:30. Hope is a community hub that offers a broad range of services and will continue to do so in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jakubowski. Our next speaker, please, Sequoia Williams.
Good afternoon, President Clark, board members, and Ms. Janice Jackson. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. Justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are. Knowledge is freedom and ignorance is slavery. May we not think of the right to do as we please, but as the opportunity to do what is right. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Without a struggle, there can be no progress. People without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. We're not makers of history. We are made by history. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. The whole purpose of education is to turn mirrors into windows. A child without an education is like a bird without wings. Doolittle is demanding by March 1st of 2019, 3 social workers, office spaces for UIC and Bright Start violence prevention, trauma and grief interventions, 2 case managers, 7 teachers, 2 administrative assistants, 3 male security officers, playground, lunch door and dismissal monitors, a full-day nurse, medical medical management classes, small class sizes, 8 tutors. Volunteer applications need to be processed effective immediately. Self-care workshops for staff is a must. Jamila Lawrence from Youth Guidance is to be placed back in the building effective immediately. She was removed illegally, and I hope there is paperwork to follow as to why she was removed from the building. I also want you all to understand that Dr. Bibby, who's under 7 investigations, retired in the middle of January. I've been reporting her not only to the Inspector General's office, as well to ISB, and I have 5 DCFS case reports that I've reported for the negligence. Also, there's sexual misconduct in the kindergarten in the 6-room class. I have something from Title IX. I'm going to go a little over my 2 minutes. I apologize. Douglas Henning as well as Kathleen Gibbons are also aware. They're also a part of the DCFS investigation for the negligence of the children. The children are not being monitored. We have less than 5 permanent teachers. There's kids in the boiler room. There are 5 children that went missing, including mine. He went missing for 16 minutes. Everybody in CPS is aware. The directors are aware. You may choose to look over or the other way, but you can never say again that you didn't know. Doolittle is known as the school that does little. I am here on behalf of our students, parents, staff, and community to make sure you know that we care and prepare to do more. We are empowered, we will stay informed, and will not stand down. We are asking for all of CPS to stand with us. I would like you all to know that there are bullying allegations going on. I don't know if Title IX or whatever protections can do something with the bullying issue. We've been on probation for 15 years. The kids are in the boiler room. We have no Constitution study guides. We have no curriculum. The substitutes have nothing to go based off of. And we were told that the talent office has money for teachers. So we need the teachers, or we need to take the money from the schools on the north side to have the bilingual classes to get basic necessities for these children. These are small children. 5 kindergartners have gone missing within the last 4 months. So I am asking for CPS to work with us, and I will not stop reporting to the Inspector General's office. I will not stop reporting. The teachers are being treated like animals. We need more security guards. We have 3 security guards for 300 students. We have 1 administrative assistant. So as I sit here in this board, I am asking you all to please come to Doolittle, James R. Doolittle, 535 East 35th Street yourself. We need help. These kids are not safe. I am telling you to your face that these kids are not safe. Thank you.
Our next speaker, please, Speaker 49, Louis Peister.
Good afternoon. I'm rearranging what I was going to say based on previous remarks. But first of all, communication between the CTU and the CPS. And strategic bargaining, the monthly meeting that is supposed to happen. President Jesse Sharkey and others from the CTU can communicate to you about special needs, student abuse of students, teacher abuse, and all those issues that have been raised here about as if the union has no way of speaking to you guys. There is a method. It's called strategic bargaining. It's once a month, and some people who have been around know that. So when they, to use the word, whine about it, they should stop whining and use the opportunity that they have to speak to Dr. Jackson and others on the staff of the CPS. And the other thing on class size, in my previous life, I was a staff member of the CTU. I was in charge of the class size monitoring committee. And I know full well that the Board of Education has the class size numbers. You don't have to wait for the CTU. If the school, if they're over 36 or whatever the magic number is, you guys can act independent of the CTU. Proactive, is that the word? To fail to do something is inexcusable. It is also inexcusable, since there is a staff member who has left the room, unfortunately, from the CTU, that for the CTU not to do it. If the Board of Education can get the numbers on what the class sizes are, the CTU, because I did it when I was at the CTU, we got the class size numbers, and we did the referrals. We reached out. We didn't wait for a teacher or the delegate to do something. We reached out.
Mr. Peister, can you please conclude?
I will, okay. So what I'm saying is, the Board of Education has failed, and the CTU to deal with class size. When someone says Grissom has had the problem for years, why hasn't someone from both sides of the taken care of it instead of coming here in the 8th, 9th year of the CTU leadership and the leadership over here? Reach out, proactive, take care of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Peister. Our next speaker, please, Speaker 54, Omar Tabara.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Omar Tabara. I'm a CPS graduate, the son of 2 retired CPS teachers, and have been teaching and coaching sports in Chicago for over a decade. I currently am the lead English teacher at the Chicago High School for the Arts, a CPS contract school commonly referred to as Chi-Arts. Our academic teachers and paraprofessionals voted to unionize in 2018, and the CTU was certified as our exclusive bargaining representative. We are in the midst of negotiations with Chi-Arts administration for our first labor contract. I am on the union bargaining team with our negotiations with management. I am here today because Chi-Arts Board of Directors does not hold public board meetings. A number of Chi-Arts teachers have requested to attend our school's board meetings to be able to share their insights from the classroom and to gain a better understanding of how the school's board makes operations and policy decisions. Chi-Arts management has repeatedly denied these requests and refused to allow teachers or members of the public to attend, insisting that they are not required to do so, their counsel defending their position with statements like, "The law is the law." This is troubling. Chi-Arts operates pursuant to a contract with CPS and receives per pupil funding from the district at the same rates received by all CPS district-run and charter schools. I am unaware of any legitimate reason to exempt CPS contract schools like Chi-Arts from the transparency rules that apply to CPS charter and district-run schools. And regardless of any loophole that may exist in state law that would allow Chi-Arts to avoid holding open board meetings, one would think that the school board members would want to hear our concerns and insights about students' needs. I ask that the Chicago Board of Education insist that Chi-Arts and schools like it operate with transparency to the stakeholder,
Mr.
accountability to the taxpayer, and openness to the community. On behalf of the teachers at Chi-Arts and the paraprofessionals, students, parents, guardians, and other stakeholders, I request that you renew Chi-Arts' contract under the condition that they immediately make board meetings open to the public. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And our next speaker, please, Speaker 58, Renell Perry.
Good afternoon. My name is Renell Perry. I also have with me here Mr. Benny Henry, who is co-founder of the Support Group, a non-for-profit that was also founded by NBA legend Tim Hardaway. We're going to take a few minutes today to just tell you about our organization and how we have been supporting scholars within CPS. Our mission is to create an overall balance that will afford the unlimited opportunities for young men and women to excel. We're going to talk about, you are receiving a handout that talks about our Leadership Peace Academy, as well as an invitation to one of our flagship programs called Lunch with a Leader. Lunch with a Leader was founded 10 years ago. It is an opportunity for CPS students to spend the day with business leaders from the public and private sector. To date, over 4,000 CPS students have attended. We have had leaders such as Charles Matthews from People's Gas, Federal Express is one of the key sponsors. We've had 45 high schools to participate, as well as 6 grammar schools. The next Lunch with the Leader will be held February the 6th, and you are receiving an invitation now to attend that event. In addition to that, the support group received $350,000 from the state of Illinois to provide bridge opportunities for students to be better prepared for college. On January the 7th, we kicked off a program at Daniel Hale Williams Preparatory High School, where we are funding 15 students to complete a CNA program that is totally funded by the support group. We are voting with our dollars, and it supports the mission that Chief McDade spoke about early in terms of making sure that our kids have a great opportunity to be successful as they go to high school. In addition to that, The support group also, within our 30 years, has supported over 18,000 of your scholars, provided summer jobs for over 4,000 students. We are currently servicing schools across the city of Chicago that include Kenwood,
Ms. Perry?
Dunbar, Richards.
Ms. Perry, excuse me, can you please conclude?
Yes, and I will conclude by saying that we piloted a program at Kenwood 4 years ago called the Leadership Peace Academy. That program has now been certified by Adler University, is one of the best programs that provides student-on-student conflict resolution, and we would like the opportunity to meet with the board at a later time to share the results of this survey. And again, we hope that you can join us on February the 6th at our 10th annual Lunch with the Leader. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief McDade, do you have any comments about this partnership?
Thank you for the information. This is the first I'm learning about the partnership. I would actually like for you on the way out to meet with Elisa Botello. Lisa, can you raise your hand just so that my team can gather more information and we can have a conversation?
Yeah, and I would be remiss, I'm sorry, didn't want to go the 2 minutes. We also want to thank Kareem Bender from your FACE organization, who has been working with us to make sure that they're aware of this. And then we're just really excited that the students, we've also sent over 50 of our students are now in colleges, which include Howard, Hampton, and DePaul University. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. And the last speaker, speaker number 60, please, Scott Clark.
Now the moment you've all been waiting for. Good afternoon. My name is Scott Clark. I'm the parent of 8th grade twins at Andrew Jackson Language Academy, and I've lived in the South Loop for the last 19 years. Mr. President, board members, Dr. Jackson, you all have a very difficult job. As I've listened to all the other comments today, running a big city school district is a very difficult thing. You've got to balance a lot of interests and things, and I would echo the comments from the folks from Chinatown. I was last in this room over a year ago testifying in support of the proposed NTA, Neighborhood High School. In December, the Circuit Court of Cook County issued an injunction barring CPS from proceeding to convert the NTA from a neighborhood elementary school to a desperately needed neighborhood high school. From August through December, my daughter's high school on the Go CPS website was listed as the NTA High School. Well, that changed with the court's order, and it's been in the press that CPS has decided not to appeal or pursue that for next year, and I understand that. However, after looking at the court's order from December 3rd, the main basis of the court's ruling was sections of the Illinois School Code that require, if you're going to change a boundary or close a school, you have to provide a better performing school option for the displaced students. My daughters and several hundred other current 8th graders, potential incoming freshmen for the NTA, now no longer have the NTA High School as their neighborhood high school. The order came out after the deadline for the parochial school applications and just days before the selective enrollment deadline. All of the responses I've gotten from Go CPS and the CEO's office are that they're not going to do anything for the benefit of these 8th graders despite the rules and despite their neighborhood high school option now being changed. My time's up. Thank you.
Chief McDade, is there a response?
No response right now, other than the fact that, we did have the open process for Go CPS for students to apply on Go CPS, and that process was open for all students to be able to apply even after the decision was made.
I know, but I'm sure that Chief McDade would be willing to speak to you.
Yes. Lisa, can you please capture his information so that we can have further discussions about options to support you for students at your school?
Does that conclude?
That concludes public participation, Mr. President, but I'd just like to note that Aisha Ahmed, the honorary student board member, would like to address the board.
Well, I won't make the mistake of overlooking you again, so go right ahead.
I would like to thank you, President Clark, and the board members for this opportunity, as always. I'm really thankful for Dr. Janice Jackson and her team for addressing the sexual assault report, because I was seeing a lot of cases that were being addressed to me, and then I was going to address that, but I'm really thankful that you already addressed it, that tells me that, you guys are doing your job and you know what you guys are doing. So I'm really happy. And then I would like to say that I'm always learning something new whenever I attend these meetings. And then whenever I take my information back to my school and I share it with my students and with my peers and my teachers, they're always impressed, which makes me sound so smart. And I'm always happy. And then I would like to say that thank you for taking your time out and then listening to all of these people who have these concerns. And then, yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. As always, thoughtful comments. Board members, any questions on any of the presentations? Okay, if there are no questions, where am I? Hold on. Oh, this concludes our public participation, and I need a motion. Couldn't find my place.
I move for the passage of motion number 19-0123-M01 and the commencement of a closed session to consider matters permitted under Section 21 of the Open Meetings Act, subsections 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, 10, 11, and 21 as specified in the motion.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you. I'll proceed with a roll call. Member Furlong?
Yes.
Member Garza?
Yes.
Vice President Guzman?
Yes.
Member Ward?
Yes.
Member Goldsby?
Yes.
And President Clark?
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays.
This meeting will go into closed session. We're going to reconvene the Board of Education meeting. Madam Secretary, before you proceed, I want to make a recognition. Some of you know this, some of you don't. Irma, I don't know if this is your last meeting, but Irma is going to be joining Deputy Mayor Jesse Ruiz.
Governor.
What did I call him?
You call him deputy mayor.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I mean, these Freudian slips are just going crazy. Deputy Governor Jesse Ruiz as in his new role. I don't know if there's a mic for you. Irma, can you...
Hello? Okay. Yes, I just, wanted to thank you. It's been an honor working with you, and I look forward for our paths to cross in the future. And as a parent, a CPS parent, I can thank you enough. This is such a thankless job, and I know how generous you are with your time, and I deeply appreciate it as a parent. Thank you.
Well, you have an opportunity to do more at the state level, and I'm sure you will. We appreciate you. I told you, privately, I can say it publicly, from the day I started to this day, the efficiency and the board briefings have been notably improved. You've done a very fine job, and Jesse is very fortunate. I'll see him one more time and accuse him of stealing people, but that's okay. Thank you, Irma.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I will start with closed session items from the General Counsel, and I will begin with new and continued council retentions. These items do require a vote. The first report is authorized retention of the Law Office of Elizabeth G. Schrader for new council retention. The second report is the authorized retention of the law firm Tristan and Cervantes for new retention. And the third report is authorized continued retention of the law firm Ansel Blink, Diamond, Bush, Diasani, and Kaft-Header, PC. Mr. President, these items do require a vote.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. I'll proceed with a roll call. Member Furlong?
Yes.
Member Garza?
Yes.
Vice President Guzman?
Yes.
Member Ward?
Yes.
Member Goolsby?
Yes.
And President Clark?
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays. I will continue with settlements. These items do require a vote. The first report is personal injury, authorized payment of settlement for Yolanda Juarez, independent administrator of the estate of Rosario Gomez, deceased, case number 17L002155. The second report, workers' compensation, payment for lump sum settlement for David Perminias, case numbers 15WC006930 and 16WC04729. The third report is workers' compensation, payment for lump sum settlement for Frank Lucas, case number 15WC29973. The fourth report is workers' compensation payment for lump sum settlement for Jerry L. Newsome, case number 14WC041762. The fifth report is workers' compensation payment for lump sum settlement for Cambry J. Zielinski, case number 15WZ030117. The sixth report is the workers' compensation payment for lump sum settlement for Theodore Hurt, case numbers 03WC059237, 05WC018258, and 08WC013944. The seventh report is the workers' compensation payment for lump sum settlement for Gustavo Izquierdo, case number 15WC36017. The eighth report is workers' compensation payment for lump sum settlement for Cynthia J. Brown, case number 10WC00987. I'm sorry, strike that, 009879. The ninth report is the workers' compensation payment for lump sum settlement for Nicole Kirk, case number 15WC012169. The 10th report is the workers' compensation payment for lump sum settlement for Lori A. Lennox, case number 13WZ000805. 11th report, workers' compensation payment for lump sum settlement for Ann Gully, case number 18WC9312. The 12th report is the property tax appeal refund authorized settlement for 15-31398, 16-35389, 17-40197 for 65 West Jackson Boulevard in Chicago, the Union League Club. The 13th report, property tax appeal refund authorized settlement for 15-35496 and 16-34603, 121 West Chestnut, for 121 West Chestnut Association. The 14th report, property tax appeal refund, authorized settlement for 15-39379, 16-35385, and 17-42383 for 24 West Randolph Street for the Oriental Theater. Mr. President, these items do require a vote.
If there are no objections from my fellow board members, please apply the last favorable roll call vote.
Thank you. I'll continue with law personnel matters, and these items do require a vote, and they are: first report, appoint Assistant General Counsel, Department of Law, Dimitri Klebner. The second report is appoint Assistant General Counsel, Department of Law, Michael R. Graham. And Mr. President, these items do require a vote.
If there are no objections from my fellow board members, please apply the last favorable roll call vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll continue with items from the Chief Executive Officer and proceed with the warning resolutions. These items do require a vote, and we have first report, warning resolution, Wayne Issa, contract principal, assigned to Edwin G. Foreman College and Career Academy. The second report, warning resolution, Armando Rodriguez, principal, Sarah E. Good STEM Academy. The third report, warning resolution, Martha Carrillo, teacher, assigned to Francisco Madero Middle School. And the fourth report, warning resolution, Matthew Miles, teacher, assigned to Loggindale Middle School. And the fifth report, Nellie Sierra, tenured teacher, assigned to John F. Eberhart School. Mr. President, these items do require a vote.
If there are no objections from my fellow board members, please apply the last favorable roll call vote.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I will continue with items from the board, and these items do require a vote. The first report is the resolution by the Board of Education of the City of Chicago regarding the dismissal of Sarah Foggs, tenured teacher, assigned to Jackie Robinson Elementary School. The second report is the resolution approving the Chief Executive Officer's recommendation to dismiss educational support personnel. And the third report is the resolution approving the Chief Executive Officer's recommendation to dismiss probationary appointed teachers. And for the record, Mr. President, I would like to note that on January 17, 2019, the board members and the Office of the Board received the CEO's recommendation to dismiss probationary appointed teachers pursuant to Board Rule 4-1 and 105 ILCS 5/34-84. Her recommendations included the names of the teachers affected and the reasons, and she also noted that the teachers affected will be notified of their dismissal after adoption of the resolution. And Mr. President, these items do require a vote.
If there are no objections from my fellow board members, please apply the last favorable roll call vote.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I believe that Board Member Furlong has a motion, please.
I move that pursuant to Section 2.06D of the Open Meetings Act, board members have reviewed the redacted portion of closed session minutes previously open for public inspection for the period of July 1995 through December 2016. These minutes with noted redactions were open to the public by the board at various times from January 2012 to July 2018. The board finds the need for confidentiality continues to exist for the redacted portions of these minutes, which portions will not be available for public inspection. Upon adoption of this motion, all existing closed session minutes from July 1995 through December 2016 will be available for public inspection with the continuing redactions noted.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you. I'll proceed with a roll call. Member Furlong?
Yes.
Member Garza?
Yes.
Vice President Guzman?
Yes.
Member Ward?
Yes.
Member Goolsby?
Yes.
President Clark?
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays, and I believe Board Member Garza has a motion, please.
I move that pursuant to Section 2.06D of the Open Meetings Act, the board members have reviewed closed session minutes for the period beginning January 2017 through June 2017. The board members have determined that the need for confidentiality does not exist as to those minutes, except as indicated in the redacted portions. Minutes were redacted for the following: A, privileged attorney-client communications; B, information subject to privacy or confidentiality protections in state or federal law; and C, information where the board determines it necessary to protect the public interest or the privacy of an individual. The board finds that the need for confidentiality as to the redacted material remains. Upon adoption of this motion, all closed session minutes from January 2017 through June 2017 with noted redactions will be available for public inspection.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you. I'll proceed with a roll call. Member Furlong?
Yes.
Member Garza?
Yes.
Vice President Guzman?
Yes.
Member Ward?
Yes.
Member Goolsby?
Yes.
And President Clark?
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays, and I believe Vice President Guzman has a motion, please.
Yes, I move that the board adopt the minutes of the closed session meeting of December 5th, 2018. Board members have reviewed these minutes along with previously approved minutes of closed sessions from July 2017 through October 2018 in accordance with Section 2.06D of the Open Meetings Act. Following this review, board members have determined that the need for confidentiality exists as to all closed session minutes from July 2017 through December 2018, and therefore these minutes will not be available for public inspection.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you. I'll proceed with a roll call. Member Furlong?
Yes.
Member Garza?
Yes.
Vice President Guzman?
Yes.
Member Ward?
Yes.
Member Goolsby?
Yes.
And President Clark?
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays, and I believe Board Member Furlong has a motion, please.
Section 2.06C of the Open Meeting Act permits the destruction of audio recordings of the closed session meetings no less than 18 months after the completion of a meeting if the board has, 1, approved the minutes of the closed meeting, and 2, approves the destruction. The board's closed session meetings from January 2017 until June 2017 occurred more than 18 months ago, and the board secretary maintains board-approved confidential minutes of all such closed sessions. I move that the audio recordings of the board's closed session meetings from January 2017 until June 2017, as itemized on the attached Appendix A, be authorized for destruction in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. Do I need to read the dates in?
No, that'll
No?
be fine, because it'll
Okay.
be posted with the motion, and the timeframe is reflected, so it's from January 2017 to June 2017.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you. I'll proceed with a roll call. Member Furlong?
Yes.
Member Garza?
Yes.
Vice President Guzman?
Yes.
Member Ward?
Yes.
Member Goolsby?
Yes.
And President Clark?
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays, and I believe Board Member Ward has a motion, please.
I move that the record of proceedings of the board meeting of December 5th, 2018, prepared by the board secretary, be approved, and that such records of proceedings be posted on the Chicago Board of Education website in accordance with Section 2.06B of the Open Meetings Act.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. I'll proceed with a roll call. Member Furlong?
Yes.
Member Garza?
Yes.
Vice President Guzman?
Yes.
Member Ward?
Yes.
Member Goolsby?
Yes.
And President Clark?
Yes.
6 ayes, 0 nays. Mr. President, I'll continue with one real estate item. This item does require a vote. Disposition of bids received for the sale of property located at 1234 West 95th Street, Chicago, Illinois. Mr. President, this item does require a vote.
If there are no objections from my fellow board members, please apply the last favorable roll call vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will continue with items on the public agenda and only read the board report numbers since the titles and board reports appeared on the public agenda. I will begin with one resolution that does not require a vote. RS1, Mr. President, this item just needs to be accepted by the board.
Please mark received and filed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll continue with additional resolutions and one policy amendment. These items do require a vote, and we have RS 2, 3, 4, and 5. We then have PO 1, and Mr. President, these items do require a vote.
If there are no objections from my fellow board members, please apply the last favorable roll call vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll continue with the communications. These items do not require a vote. CO1 is the communication regarding the location of the board meeting of February 27, 2019. This is to advise that the regular meeting of the Board of Education scheduled for Wednesday, February 27, 2019 will be held at the CPS Loop Office, 42 West Madison Street, Garden Level Boardroom. The meeting will begin at 10:30 a.m. Public participation guidelines are available on www.cpsboe.org or by calling the board office at 773-553-1600. For the February 27, 2019 board meeting, advance registration to speak and observe will be available beginning Monday, February 25th at 10:30 a.m. and will close on Tuesday, February 26th at 5 p.m. or until all slots are filled. You can advance register during the registration period by the following methods: online, by phone, or in person. To ensure equity of the access to address the board, an individual may not speak at 2 consecutive board meetings. In the event an individual registered to speak at a consecutive board meeting, the individual will not be called to address the board, although advanced registration is recommended. You can also register to observe the meeting on the day of the meeting via same-day in-person observer registration at the 42 West Madison Street lobby, and the registration time opens at 10:15 a.m. and will remain open for the duration of the board meeting. Same-day in-person observer registrations are taken as on a first-come, first-served basis as seats become available, and the public participation segment of the meeting will begin at as indicated on the meeting agenda and proceed for no more than the 60 registered speakers. CO2, Mr. President, is the communication from the Chief Financial Officer concerning the comprehensive annual financial report of the board for fiscal year 2018. And it reads, the Office of the Senior Vice President of Finance has prepared the fiscal year 2018 comprehensive annual financial report. Pursuant to Section 34-29 of the Illinois School Code, the board retained the independent certified accounting firm of Baker Tilly Virchow and Kraus LLP to audit the basic financial statements of the board as of and for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2018. Baker Tilly Virchow Kraus LLP has completed the audit and issued an unmodified report on the basic financial statements, which is included in the comprehensive annual financial report. Copies of the comprehensive annual financial report have been distributed to the members of the board in advance of the meeting. Today, the comprehensive annual financial report is being presented to and accepted by the board. The report will be filed with the official record in the official records of the board and transmitted to the mayor of the city of Chicago and the Chicago City Council as required by law. Mr. President, I'll continue with additional items on the public agenda that do require a vote, and we have EX 1, 2, 3, and 4. We then have EX 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And for the record, I would like to note an abstention for President Clark on EX 9. Moving on to EX 10, 11, 12, 13. We then have ED1, OP1, and for the record, I would like to note an abstention for President Clark on OP1. On OP2, for the record, I would like to note an abstention for President Clark, as well as OP3. I would like to note an abstention for President Clark on OP3. We then have OP4, and for the record, I would like to note an abstention for President Clark on OP4. I'll continue with PR 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We then have PR 6 and 7. And Mr. President, these items do require a vote.
If there are no objections from my fellow board members, please apply the last favorable roll call vote with the noted abstention.
Thank you, Mr. President. So noted. Mr. President, I'll continue with additional items that do not require a vote, and we have EX 14, 15, and AR1. Mr. President, these items just need to be accepted by the board.
Please mark received and filed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Then there are no further items on the public agenda.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.